inside Thursday night. How's it going? Alright, strip back, good crack, multi-trade podcast. Share the knowledge you know, help to make our sector grow. Everybody's learning from experts and the journeymen. Insights.
Right, we're back. Season 6, Episode 9. I'm Stephen Buckley.
I'm Keith Delahan.
And this is Insight, the Stripped Back podcast, sponsored by Robust Lighting.
And in association with Snickers Workwear Ireland.
Yeah, another good episode lined up for this week, Keith. We've got an old friend of ours later on the episode, Adam Foley. Old would you say, professional footballer from the Northern Irish Premier League and the League of Ireland Premier League.
Yeah, who had, some might argue, an unusual rise to becoming a professional footballer, like from grassroots, Leinster Senior League, all the way to the Northern Irish Premier League and then into the League of Ireland. So it's a really good story from Adam.
Yeah, good journey from school, local lad, to professional footballer, to now coach. So really looking forward to getting into that one. But we've got the overload segment first, which is usually one that we reserve for the trade chat or anybody from the trade industry, from qualified professionals right down to apprentices, from electricians and plumbers and everything else. But we've a bit of a different one this week.
Yeah, we're taking it in a different, from a different angle. So we've got Jordan Dargan coming on with us. So he was a contestant on the Apprentice UK on BBC, so it's a really strange one for us to have an apprentice from that line of work. Yeah,
coming from Alan Sugar's boardroom into the Inside Studio. Jordan is in 3D animation, so he's built his career and his business around 3D animation and providing 3D animation for corporate clients and a lot more, I think, that he has to explain from growing up in Ireland and everything else that comes with it, and getting himself onto the public stage on British TV and Irish TV and really doing Ireland proud.
Yeah, obviously doing great things to be, at such a young age, to be, asked to be a contestant on the BBC show. So really looking forward to getting his background on how that process works and how he got into his industry.
Yeah, 100%. I guess we'll get rolling with the episode now. And joining us in the studio for the Overload segment is Jordan Dargan. This podcast is sponsored by Robust Lighting, the world's leading LED lighting company.
Jump over and download the My Robust app, see the full range and catalogue, and make the next order with ease.
Jordan, thanks for joining myself and Keith on the podcast. It's surreal for us to get a celebrity on, if you like to call yourself that.
Definitely is.
Not quite yet. On the way there.
You will be after this. Just don't think so. But anyway, we appreciate you coming into us, brother. Cheers.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Before we get started, Instagram story up during the week. Major injury to the hand.
Yeah.
How was it feeling?
I sprained the finger. It was just, it was going the other way. It was going in directions it shouldn't have been going. Yeah. So I was down to Connolly, had it snapped back in. Nice little hit of the green whistle and got sent on my way. Yeah. I think I was asking the doctor to go out for drinks with me after or something. I was like, let's go out for a pint, that'd be great. I'll thank you for it and all. But yeah.
Seeing the picture there with the arm around the mother.
Yeah.
No better love from that to sort of calm the nerves when something like that happens.
Yeah, she wasn't too happy with me. I was just trying to speak to everyone. She was like, Jordan, stop it. I'd be lost without me, man. I'd be lost without her. She's been there from the very beginning. Obviously, she gave birth to me. But no, she's been my number one supporter for everything I've ever done. And there's been a lot of things, where I wanted to play for Dublin or I wanted to work in Google when I was younger. I don't know why, but she was like, yeah, you can do it. Or I want to go on The Apprentice or whatever. She was like, yeah, I believe in you. You can do it.
Biggest support, yeah.
Yeah, when most people didn't, she always believed.
Look, that's a perfect way to start, and it's how we kind of always start. We take a step back and we look at how our guests' upbringing went for them, where they were brought up, and what school life was like. So if you'd like to share, where are you from, Jordan?
I'm from a beautiful posh little town called Blanchardstown.
Used up the Blanche.
No,
Castleknock side or?
so I would have started in Castleknock. Lived there probably until I was about 5. So I would have went to primary school there. It was quite difficult for me to get into a primary school actually because I'm not Catholic. I am Christian, but I'm just not Catholic. So a lot of the schools wouldn't accept you if you weren't Catholic. So I think my mom was telling me we went to about 3 or 4. No, sorry, you're not. No, why would you bring him here? He's not Catholic. Like just being very rude about it.
Yeah.
And I went to school to Moss, who eventually were like, yeah, we'd love to have him here.
We'll educate this guy.
Yeah. I think Bernard Brogan, the Gap player, he would have gone there. There would have been a few Dublin players went there. So
we can get this guy in the Apprentice.
Yeah, exactly. They knew back then. Building a roster. But no, I went there, and I think there might have been one other black person. Everyone was white Irish. I never even recognized any. I didn't feel any different.
Yeah.
And I think the first time would have been in a match where I think some kids just started making monkey noises at me when we were like very young. We were like probably nursery level.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think anything of it. And I think I'd said it to my mom, and it was whatever. That was I remember it, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
But then I started going through school, and the lads are like, right, I'm doing comb overs, I'm spiking and I was there trying to do a comb over, like, why's my hair not going over? And little things kind of slowly became apparent as I got older. Oh, maybe I'm a little bit different to these people. And no, there was no hatred, no animosity in primary school. I had a great time, made some great friends. Funny enough, got into secondary school now. I moved to Ongar when I was about 5, so had to go to secondary school there. And a lot of black people, a lot of white people, very multicultural area.
Yeah.
It was a new build, so I think that was the nature of it. A lot of people were coming in.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the black people are like, why does this guy want to be white? He's so white. He plays hurling. He speaks like a white man. He does this. And I'm like, what is speaking white? What do you mean? Like, I grew up here. This is how I talk and whatever. And then I went through this weird phase for many years where it was too white for the black people and too black for the white people. So I felt I was kind of in this weird limbo. Yeah. But I learned to do a lot of stuff alone, and I always had big dreams, and I kind of was like, right, I'm just gonna build that by myself. And I spent a lot of secondary school just kind of by myself, to be honest.
Do you like your own company?
I did, and then I got a girlfriend, and I was in like a 5-year relationship with her. And then that kind of becomes a crutch, because you've never experienced that.
Yeah,
this person is like your best friend.
Yeah,
and then when that goes away, you're kind of like, wow. So, lately it's just been, I've been getting comfortable in that again, and you find ways. You go to I went to the cinema by myself for the first time there like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, but then it's, it's all right. I'll be okay. And you go to the gym, you find things to do.
You're lucky not having a woman in your ear in the cinema. Seriously,
yeah.
You get to go and see what you want as well. That's the other thing.
Absolutely. No, it's
you mentioned there obviously playing sport as well. Was that a big thing for you growing up?
Huge. I wanted to play for Dublin. That was, I had my heart set on it, and
that's the guy. Hurling or
football.
Yeah.
Wanted to. I looked up to Jack McCaffrey a lot. I was quick.
Yeah,
and it was the black side in me. Yeah, I was the quick, wing back who couldn't shoot, couldn't do anything. I could just run. That one scene in Forrest Gump where he's just running. Yeah. I was just like, as soon as I got the ball, run and give it to someone else. They was, give the ball off, Jordan. But
stop running.
Yeah. No, look, it was that was my life. I was very emotional with it as well. Like I'd cry after games because I felt I had a rubbish game. But I was very critical on myself. And I was speaking about this. I was on another podcast, and it kind of became apparent to me that I think the fact that I'm so critical actually comes from my upbringing. My dad was quite harsh on me with his expectations, and he would always say to me, Jordan, I want you to be close to perfect. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be close to it. And if it wasn't that, you'd know about it. You'd get hit, or you'd get this, or you get that. It was very, very tough.
Was that educational? Like in education, sports, in around the house, there's everything, was it?
Like little thing, your wardrobe door is open. You left a t-shirt on the floor, you'll get a backhand for that. You know what I mean? Or you weren't doing your homework, or you were whatever. It was silly in hindsight, silly things. But even like a big thing for me is my shoes could never be dirty. My shoes had to always be clean, like spotless. If I had a bit of dirt on my shoes, it was you get screamed at for hours about it. And it made me a perfectionist. It made me have such a, I suppose, a particular expectation of how things need to be. And I probably took a bit of that into my career, into animation, you know, having a good eye for design. And
does anxiety come with that perfection?
Yeah, absolutely. Even like I said, in sport, I'd finish a game and everyone would be like, "You played great." I'd be like, "No, it wasn't good enough," and I'd break down in tears because it wasn't good enough. Yeah, it helped me, but I do think it's hindered me in ways I probably don't even know yet. I probably will find out as I get older, and you know, these traumas come back up. But I just don't. I don't think even that realization, I never realized that for a long time until I started speaking about it on podcasts and speaking. It's like you say something, you're like, actually, yeah, that makes sense now. Why?
But
That's the way I am.
As a man to a boy, like, you know, there's different experiences there. So like what you're feeling now, like you can nearly like look back at your childhood and maybe gauge like what's happened to you was wrong and right, but at the time you might have not have known, or maybe you did.
I thought it was normal.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Any Nigerian kids who had you know, it's like you make jokes. It's like, you're not behaving today, and you hit your kid when it's funny, you know, it was a joke. Yeah. And I just thought, that everyone goes through that, you know. And then when I got older, I was like, no, like you might get a slipper. Yeah. You know, getting black eyes and having to lie about it in school, getting thrown around the gaff at 5, 6, 7 years of age is not normal. Yeah. And I got told this is how my father raised me. Yeah. And I'm grateful to him because now I know how to behave as an adult. So when you're older, you're going to thank me for that. And it's kind of ironic that now I actually am kind of saying it's kind of helped me. So, however, I've got 3 younger siblings, you know, little shits. But I couldn't even fathom laying a hand on any, regardless of what they do. I couldn't fathom it, you know, hitting them or
breaking the cycle.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I think this is what you see a lot of the time. People who've gone through traumatic experience, they either become what happened to them, or they despise it and they do the complete opposite. I don't know what the reason is, but I've gone the opposite, and I'm like, I never want my kids to grow up.
It sounds like you're obviously intelligent enough to harness the disciplinary side of the upbringing. Obviously, terrible, like getting hit and stuff like that, but the discipline side of it, you know, the regimental side of it, sounds like it's kind of ingrained in you in a good way as well. Like you've kind of harnessed it. Would that be right to say?
Yeah. I think there's a fine balance between the two. Like my siblings now, my dad's not living with us anymore, but in comparison, the way I behaved at their age is then they think they deserve everything. They're entitled. They're this, you know, they because they haven't had any of that. Versus me, who had it, I was very well behaved, very like, straight A student. I wouldn't mess, and I'd still get in trouble for that, you know. And I think there's a fine balance where, you know, kids need to be told what's right and wrong, and they need to have consequences when they misbehave. But at the same time, don't go getting your belt out and, you know, whipping them. That's
as a young lad or a teenager even as well, like coming into any type of tween age, would you have had the confidence to even speak up to other male friends about what was happening?
You know, I actually struggled with even speaking against male, I would say, authoritative figures in my life. Like if it was my coach, I had proper anxiety about talking back to my coach or talking back to a teacher, or if there was even like a teammate who I felt was maybe above me, wouldn't talk back, and bosses wouldn't talk. And I again, it's your mind, right? Your mind sees this guy is here. If I make him angry, I'm going to get hit. I'm in danger. Let me not do that. And that's your brain is really simple with the messages. It's like, if I do this, bad things will happen. Don't do it. And that's where the anxiety comes in. So for years, I wouldn't speak back. If I was on the pitch and someone said, "Give me the ball," I gave them the ball. I wouldn't question. I became a people pleaser from it. And no, I didn't really speak to anyone because, again, I thought it was normal. I didn't think it was odd. I just thought that's what everyone went through. And
would it ever restrict, like on the sports side of it, would it ever restrict your game going into a game? Like was it numbing in a sense? Would it have been numbing even thinking about going into a game? Did you have like a performance anxiety or anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah, I always said I was the best trainer. When it came to training, I would have, I wouldn't miss. I'd be perfect. And when the game came on, it's like that kind of, I could still run without a doubt, but with shooting, I'd get so nervous that I was going to miss it and I was going to get shouted at. So I either wouldn't shoot, or if I did shoot and then that'd be the only shot I take. And yeah, again, all these things, it makes sense now. It might not have made sense 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. And I don't want to go on a big, poor me, smallest violin, whatever. But yeah, like, I don't think I'm alone there. I think a lot of people have probably things they went through that make them how they are.
Yeah.
Talking about it.
Talking about it helps you just realize it's not you. Like, I hate therapy. I don't go to therapy. It's just not for me. But maybe it's just certain therapists that the setup of it being this professional environment in a room, but actually speaking about things does help you. Just it's for you. It's not for the other person. It's not even for them to listen. It's almost so you just have the illusion of I'm telling this. Oh wait, that's clicks now. It's like the light bulb comes on.
Well, a process for one person won't work for another one. So everybody has their own process, and obviously, embedding yourself into certain projects and doing certain things like it's helped you. Would you have found at a certain point during your upbringing that you became the man of the house at any stage?
When he left.
Yeah.
When he left.
What age would that have been at?
18.
So you would have taken that role in the sense that you have younger siblings, so you have to be the person who they're looking up to in a sense going forward.
Yeah, I tried to spend a lot of time with them. And I moved to London when I was 19, so for that year between when I was 18 and up until 18, I was still getting hit. I was still getting abused by him, and I haven't spoken to him in about 2 years maybe, but it was just slowly deteriorating. I tried to keep a relationship. I'd be the one, so there was obviously custody between, I'd be the one bringing my siblings back and forth, and I was trying to just be that mediator, which you shouldn't have to be. You shouldn't have to be like, dad wants you to be on this side, mom wants you to be on this side, and you love them both, but I think that's what put a strain on mine in his relationship. He wanted me to choose him over my mom. And I'm like, I'm not choosing either of you. I love you both. But similar to what happened, I think it forces you to grow up at a young age. It forces you to. I don't think anyone. I always say anyone who's done great things has gone through adversity. They've gone through some kind of crap. Both of you have. Gone through stuff that's made you who you are. So in some ways, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that I went through what I went through, because it did make me who I am.
Fair play to you. I guess you mentioned there 18 and, sort of paving a path for yourself then, having an idea of who you were going to be then or maybe not even knowing who you're going to be, maybe making a decision to put yourself into, like you travel to England, you put yourself into certain situations that's going to maybe pave a path for yourself for a future career. What pushed you in the direction of 3D animation? And how did it come about? Was it self-taught or was it academically taught?
I never wanted to be an entrepreneur growing up, funny enough. Both my parents worked regular 9 to 5 full-time jobs. Like I said, I wanted to work in Google because they had slides in their office, and that was really cool. And I was like, I want to work at the place that has slides that can go down between the floors. Anyway,
need to get a slide in here.
Yeah, need to get a slide in here. The employment rate will just boom. But I think transition year was my first taste of wanting to make money. I wouldn't even say entrepreneurship, because I did my work experience, and on the back end of that got my first job, which was in a Nike shop. Just working like sales rep, whatever. And when I left that, I had $2,000 to my name at like 16, 17. I think it was 17. I was there for a year. And I was like, I need to make money now. I haven't got a job. What do I do with this money? And I ended up getting in with, these Forex people who say, give me money or go into whatever. I won the lottery, essentially. I put $2,000 in with this guy, followed his signals, made 12 grand within a week. Now, in my head, I'm the next Wolf of Wall Street. I remember I had this beautiful Ford Fiesta that I always wanted. I think it was one of the Ego Boost, whatever, but really wanted it. Beautiful car. It was like 8 grand. I don't know if that was what it was. Well, I didn't know nothing about cars, but I withdrew 8 grand. It was on the way. I went down, put a deposit on the car, and then went and paid for it in full. Had about 4 left. So
Did you regret that purchase straight away?
Well, here's the good part. I had about 4 grand. I thought if I could turn 2 into 12, I could turn 4 into 30 or whatever I could turn into. I lost all 4,000 of it within about 12 hours. And now I had a car and no money for petrol.
No money for petrol.
No money for insurance, tax, nothing. So I got in touch with a fella who lives near me, and I said, look, he had a BMW i8 dream car. I was like, if he could get that, maybe he'll know how I can get this thing moved, whatever. So just so happened he was starting a car dealership at the exact same time I came to him. And he said, look, I'll show you how to sell the car. I'll show you how to take the pictures, everything. And me and you are going to start a car dealership together. And I'm like, okay. I was in 5th year though. So at this time, so I'm like, I've got school. And I kind of said, you know, screw school. I'm doing this. I'm going to make millions off this, whatever. So I spent about a year with him just selling cars, buying this area, Ballyfermot, it's just like going all around. This is like the secondhand car dealer's dream, you know what I mean?
Here, yeah, exactly.
So we were around this area. This is where we ran the business for a long time, and just started with a Fiat 500, flipped it for a few quid. This was before VAT came in and all that stuff with Brexit, so it was a lot easier.
Yeah,
and that then kind of made me realize, you know, you can make money by yourself.
Yeah,
that led to, I think my next business was like a marketing agency, and that led to e-commerce, and each business kind of led into the next one with, oh, well, I can run Facebook ads now. Oh, well, why am I running ads for his products when I can do my own products? And it just kept growing like that till eventually I said, you know, I need something stable. So that's when I moved to London, and I got a sales job. Did that for about a year, learned a lot, met a lot of cool people, but it came to a point where I looked at the guy who was 10 years ahead of me, and I said, I don't want to be him next year. Never mind in 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
I'm out of here. And I literally gave my notice that I probably contemplated it for a week, and I just gave my notice, and I said, look, I'm out of here. See you later. And I went and basically just started trying everything. All the money I had left trying to start business, and I ran out of money. So I had no money again. And I was like, crap, you know, what am I going to do? I've got no money. I've left my job. And I said, I need a service because I don't need any money to run it. I need an email, and I need to be able to do the thing.
Yeah.
So I can reach out to them and whatever, similar to how you guys reach out. And I stumbled onto 3D animation, didn't know how to do it, had no clue, but I was like, this is really cool. Not many people are doing it. I can see how brands might buy into that. So started learning it, but I was on a crap computer, couldn't make projects with it. So I needed about 1,500 quid. So I still had my pay slip from, you know, my last payment off work. Yeah. So I went down and I took a loan out for 1,500 quid with no way to pay it back.
Jesus.
And I literally was like, right, I need to get work. Like now my back's against the wall. I need to. Yeah. So I went and I bought the computer, and I got my first client through a friend, which was actually Jägermeister, and it paid me £300. And I followed a tutorial on YouTube for how to do the entire thing. Didn't know how to. It was just, okay, do this, cool. And I just followed it, got paid. And that gave me like 2-3 months of payments for the loan. I was like, perfect. And then I just got obsessed with it. Like, I locked myself in my room and just followed tutorials, watched YouTube videos, taught myself everything. And I would honestly say for those 4 months, I learned the majority of like the hard skills I needed to actually animate. And I don't go on Reddit much, but I went on today and I just had a little nosy, and someone had said, there was a whole subreddit, Jordan conned his way onto The Apprentice, and it was a supposed expert in animation who said, I've been in this industry for 10 years. There's no way someone can teach themselves animation in a few months. This guy is an absolute spoofer, don't listen, whatever. I believe if you want to, and this is exactly what I did, so I know it's true. If you have, for example, I wanted to go into beverages. I wanted to do drinks. So I started with Jägermeister, did some Prime stuff, some other whiskey companies. I'm wanting to get into that. Just learn what you need to do for a whiskey brand. Make a bottle. Have some liquid animation in there, some lighting, some texture. Just learn what you need to learn. The 80-20 rule, you're probably... Yeah. I learned what I needed to learn. And then everything else, I learn as I go. Yeah. But just enough to get paid. Yeah. And then once I've done a few drink companies, now let me move on. Let me say, how can I do clothes? How can I do people? And you learn as you go, but you don't need... I think people genuinely believe you need to learn everything and then go get a job. It's like,
Is there a danger of getting stuck because you think you've learned enough and not taking the extra bit. Like, you just get stuck in that phase, and that's where you then end up catapulting ahead of these guys who are writing these Reddit messages. You know, they're just
frustrated in their own journey.
That's probably what he's been in the industry 10 years and he's still working for someone. Like, I have people come to me asking for work. You've gone to college, done the 4 years. I genuinely believe if you can not, you know, get distracted and go watching TikToks halfway through, if you can stick with it, you can learn everything in a college off YouTube and the internet and all these resources. You can learn it by yourself for free.
Yeah.
You just need to be willing to put in the time, put in the work, and treat it like a job. I wasn't treating it like a side hustle. This was my job. My mom was like, you know, you're not making. I was like, I'm just not getting paid. I think that's a Kanye West or will.i.am saying. It's like, Mom, I've got a job. I'm just not getting paid yet. That's how I treat it. It's like, this is my job. I wake up, I get dressed, I sit down, and I animate.
Is that screen time stimulating enough for you to focus? You mentioned there not to be looking at TikTok, so that's your extra screen, you know. So you've got a screen in front of you doing your job, which is supposed to be a stimulation. Is that stimulating enough? Like, how tough is it when you're working in a screen environment not to be overstimulated and distracted?
It felt like a video game to me when I first started learning. It was like, I'm getting to create I kind of get an Aston Martin and put it in to London, and then I can do a whole commercial with that without having to leave my bedroom. And now I can. And what was actually really pushing me is brands were noticing it. Like, I'd say my first 6 projects I did for free, and they talked about it on the show. I was like, everyone I go to wants a portfolio. They want work. I haven't got a portfolio. I've just started, right? Why don't I just make a portfolio and then show that to them?
Yeah.
Spec work, it's what, you know, so many marketing companies started with. Very common practice. But again, people in Reddit are quick to say, oh, he has fake work. It's not fake work. I created the project to show them, this is what you've done, here's what I've done, and I believe it's better. So hire me instead of this geezer that you've got doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the brands were actually noticing, like Prime. I think my second post was Prime, and they noticed, they commented under it and sent me a DM. It was great. At the time, I think I did something for a Proper 12, and there was some stuff they noticed it as well. I did some stuff for Aston Martin. They noticed it. Like, I wasn't getting paid, but it was just, for me, it was like, that's so cool. They're actually seeing me.
Yeah, 100%.
I felt seen, and that's what pushed me on. The prospect of, oh, you can event. And then eventually it did lead to jobs. And that's how I started gaining momentum. It was like, okay, well, you've done this for this company. How can you do that for me?
Yeah. But it sounds like from a young age, you kind of bounce through what most people would go through in a lifetime of trying to find the perfect job. And then you kind of came to a head where you mentioned it being about money from the start. It sounds like you landed on something that you're actually passionate in. Would it be right in saying that?
I think passion's an interesting thing because it comes and goes.
Yeah,
passion comes and goes in whatever you do. I think that's true. You see football players are like, I'm sick of playing, getting paid $300,000 a week. I'm sick of football. You know, passion will only last for so long, and I found that the show opened my eyes to that, because I was like, yes, I'm enjoying what I'm doing, but I'm behind a desk all day. I'm at a screen all day. Versus with The Apprentice, you're in Turkey, you're in Austria, you're here, you're there, you're running around filming. And I was like, that's very cool. Yeah, that's enjoyable. This whole TV, and I feel ashamed talking about this on a lot of things where I'm like, everyone expects me to be Jordan, the entrepreneur, the businessman who just does animation. That's all he does. I got into it because I'm a storyteller. I got into animation because it was a medium for me to share stories and emotions, whatever. Yeah. I took up music, not for work, just because I enjoyed it. I started teaching myself. It's on YouTube as well. Piano, guitar. I can't really sing, but I try anyway.
Yeah, I'll try in the shower.
In the shower. But no, a lot of people were like giving me stick for that. Like, oh, would you get a load of this fella playing a bit of music? Oh, who does he think he is? Whatever. What's wrong with that? It's another medium. You know, I've been doing some acting as well. I've actually just landed my first role in something in Dublin. Can't really get into it just yet, but
you heard it here first.
Yeah. Heard it here first. That's again, I feel ashamed to talk because people expect me to be Jordan, the entrepreneur. And as I'm going through life, I'm like, I'm 22 years of age. Most 22-year-olds are in a college dorm right now, off their heads, or don't know what they're going to do when they graduate, or they're working hard, but they just haven't got direction, or, you know what I mean? They're searching for it. But I'm not allowed to do that because I'm not allowed to search for what I want to do, you know what I mean? Because people have an idea of who I am. Yeah. So I think a lot of a lot of 22-year-olds are stuck these days. They don't have enough money to buy a mortgage. My parents had me when they were 21. My mom was 21, you know. Yeah. She had her first kid, got into their first, they were living in Castleknock, and eventually had a house when I was like 5. So she'd been 26. What 26-year-old is on the housing market?
You see that
this year.
You know, when you're applying for jobs as a young lad, and an expression of interest. You know, you're literally living your own expression of interest. You're expressing yourself through loads of different avenues, and you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into one thing. You can be expressive in so many different ways and give people an idea of who you are as a person through many different forums. And I think that's great, because it just tells people that you don't have to be stuck in the mud or stuck in any type of position, where you can be great at one thing, but why not expand? Yeah. While being great in one thing, you know?
I do think you have to eventually have tunnel vision with what you want to do. But my thing is, I don't want to decide when I'm 22, this is for me.
Yeah.
And then look back and think, well, I could have tried that, and I could have tried that. I could have. No, I'm 22. I'm like, I live with my mom. You know what I mean? I'm not some millionaire. I don't claim to be. I'm not. I'm still figuring it out. I make a few quid. I do all right for myself. But now, when there's as little opportunity, as little responsibility as possible, and the world's my oyster, go for it. Try these things. Give them a shot. If it doesn't work, at least you can say, I tried. You know, I gave it my all for 3, 4, and this thing, even 3 months, that's not long enough, really. If you want to take it to that level, it's like a decade, you know, 5, 10 years. You need to be like, I'm willing to give it 5, 10. With animation, I said to myself, I'm willing to do this for 5, 10 years and make no money.
Yeah.
And just keep learning and keep getting better. Thankfully, it didn't take that long for me to start making money from it.
Is it constantly evolving, that technology? Like,
well, AI's got a big part to play in it now, and I'm constantly learning. I think with AI, you can fear it or you can embrace it, and you can realize it's coming. So you can either become well accustomed to it and learn how to use it, or you can be overtaken. See, I look into AI a lot. I think it's about a decade away from being at my level. At the industry level, I would say maybe 7 to 10 years.
You're better than AI, is what you're saying.
Right now, but one day I won't be. Yeah. One day I won't be. It's very good at general things.
I don't know, that's amazing. It's an amazing comment, that, because usually we'd have people coming onto this podcast with excessive imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And it's really refreshing to see somebody believe in themselves.
Yeah.
So well, like, because you have to. You really do, don't you? Like, you have to be able to not just sell yourself, but to be actually okay with telling people, I'm good at what I do.
I'm listening to him and I'm saying, I started my apprenticeship when I was 17 and I didn't do anything else. What the fuck am I at? I feel like I should have done more.
Yeah, but now you have your own business now, so.
Yeah, it eventually worked out.
You know, what I find interesting, a lot of people, they're like, oh, I want to be a businessman. It's become cool to be a businessman, right? It might not have been as much, you know, in the past as it is now. It's like Lamborghinis, all whatever. You can become a businessman within a job. You can become a bit like the first thing Lord Sugar said was, oh, guys, I'm looking for someone with that entrepreneurial spirit. That's what he was looking for. And I told him I had it going through my veins. I don't think it's a choice. I think once you have it, it's like a bug.
Yeah.
Everything you see as a business. So when I go into an acting role, I'm negotiating the crap out of that, trying to get the best deals, trying to get, you know, the best opportunities out of it. When I go to buy a car, it's a business negotiation. If I was to get a job, I'm negotiating that wage, that salary. When you're in the job, it's like, right, I'm in this, how do I get to the next? It's all, you're always thinking, how can I get the most out of this? That's your net
worth. Like, yeah.
That's an entrepreneur. How can I have the most perceived value to increase my position in whatever it is I'm doing? That's entrepreneurship. That's business. That doesn't need to be a business. That can be sales. I know people in the process who had jobs after the show said, look, I'm going to leave. I'm going to do this. And they ended up getting shares and, you know, better wages and everything. Why? Because their perceived value is here now. It was here, now it's here. And that's like, you guys are running a phenomenal podcast. No different to the guys who might be, you know, 10, 20 steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
They just got higher perceived value right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not that like for you to get to the next level is going to make you you're not going to have to make some huge changes. You just need to increase the perceived value. What do people perceive you to be? So you get one big guest on, the perceived value is huge. Now all the big people want to come. Oh, if I want to get to an Irish audience, I need to come to them.
Yeah.
But it's not like you're going to change a whole lot to do that. You just get a certain guest on and like that.
So I appreciate that, because that is something where myself and Key have spoke about, where it's like, right, so you think about the guest. Now, I'm going to go deep into, like, obviously, we've got Jordan on now. It's Jordan's interview, but I'll give people a little bit of an idea of. So, like, you think about the guest and you think about it very hard, like, extremely thinking about, right, who do we get? Perceived to be somebody who's going to maybe jump us up this amount of followers or this amount of listeners. It's also about authenticity, you know, because you can have guests on who are perceived to be here, but they've told their story before. And they've regurgitated that story out so many times.
It's their brand nearly, yeah.
It's their brand. And by the time they've come to you, you're just getting the scraps, you know?
Yeah.
Where myself and Keith are talking about having a platform to allow people to
get their first story out nearly.
Either get their first story out or tell people who they really are.
Yeah.
And it's up to the guest if they want to come on and give themselves to our listeners and our followers, or tell that regurgitated story every time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. And eventually, like what you said, it's authenticity that wins out. And I think, you know, like what you're saying, we will get to a level where we're happy with. And I think that's going to, you know, increase myself and Keith's maybe value in the sense of, right, the podcast has reached its level now and we'll keep going with it and we'll keep giving out them stories and eventually it's going to hit to somebody. But the difference is with the likes of, say, careers and jobs and with yourself is you're building yourself as a brand. We can build a podcast as far as it can go and it's up to everybody else to be able to, you know, accept it and listen to it. But you have a brand where you're going to be able to get yourself to a level that you want to get to, but everybody else then has to buy into that.
Yeah.
And I think it's very hard for us to be able to, you know, promote the podcast in the same way that you're going to promote a guest or promote yourself. Like me and Keith could build ourselves up separately as individuals within the podcast.
Yeah.
I could be a host and I can build myself up and I can relate to the listeners and relate to the followers. And I'm Stephen Buckley. I'm the host of Inside the Strip Bag podcast. Sponsor me as an individual. I'm going to go elsewhere and I'm going to promote myself. There's Keith Delahan, Energize Electrical. He's one of the hosts of Inside the Strip Bag podcast. And then it becomes very complicated because you're trying to promote yourself rather than the podcast. Where I think with the likes of yourself, you're picking and choosing certain avenues, like say the Apprentice, where you're looking, right, I've got clients here. I've got myself to a position where I have a company that's potentially going to make me money. And I have to make a decision where I'm either going to focus on myself and this podcast or this company, and I'm going to concentrate on my clients, or I'm going to go and I'm going to, you know, promote myself to the UK and to Ireland and maybe the world, wherever else this show is broadcasted. And that's building you as a brand, not just your company, but it's you. I think that's a decision that not everybody is willing to make. I don't even think me and Keith are willing to make it. I don't even know if me and Keith are willing to even make that. As like we're doing it for the love of it. Where with yourself, like, you know, you I think you are more than what your company even is. And I think that's a big thing. Like Keith said, the balls to be able to make that decision and take yourself to another level by putting yourself into that type of space, like, is a very interesting and it's a very courageous thing to do.
Yeah, I think with the podcast, so I look at the two Johnnies as an example.
Yeah.
I knew them from their music. They're when I grew up, I want to play county, all that. When I played with my god days, and that's I knew the two Johnnies from that. And when I'd go down, that was a celebrity to me. I was like, oh, two Johnnies. Yeah. So when they have a podcast, I'm watching it for them, you know. And I think you look at, I think the only time I've seen that successfully done the other way is probably Diary of a CEO, where I didn't know Stephen Bartlett. I knew Diary of a CEO, and then I knew him through that. So I definitely think there's two ways. But to get onto that, I think that's the crossroads I'm at, where I can basically go down, right, let me forget all this publicity stuff. I've had, you know, my 15 seconds. Let me just go flat out, build a business and kind of essentially go back to what I was just doing before. Or I can use this now and I can look, right, instead of just holding on to the Apprentice, whatever, I have eyeballs on me. How do I use those eyeballs to connect with the right people who can open up another door? Now I've got another door open. How can I use them to get to another door? And I think that's the smarter route, because the business will always be there and I can always build a bit, and I'm continuing to work. That's essentially my job, you know, building the business day to day, working on that. But this side is something that you see so many people going, Love Island, Big Brother, Apprentice. and they want to be influencers, they want to do club appearances, that's not going to do nothing for you. That'll be there, and people will forget about you. I've been in London, I've had girls break down crying in front of me. I've had people screaming out their cars. In 6 months' time, those people probably won't remember who I am because of The Apprentice anyway. So that's why I'm saying when you're in that space, use it to get to the next thing. Use it as a stepping stone. Don't you can if you know I'm taking that as a win. If you just sleep on that win and see it as that now I'm good now. You'll stay there and you'll stay looking at that and before you know it there'll be another winner and you've essentially been vacated of your spot. You're only renting that. So you always have to be treating it like, you know, I have to make something happen here. I have to make something big happen.
Yeah. I think what you said there is very interesting because, you know, it comes down to certain moments within, you know, your life where, like you mentioned, the crossroad. But if, you know, you don't take the blue or the red pill, you know, and you don't go down the route of celebrity and you don't go down the route of building you as a brand and you fully focus on the business, that's not a bad thing either.
No.
You know what I mean? Because you can still make a lot of money. You can still make a successful business behind the scenes of a company and, you know, have lovely suits on and, you know,
nicer in this one. Louis Copeland.
Have the nice car, you know. It's still manageable. It's just the choice of the individual.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's where you have to see yourself. Are you willing to, or are you capable of building a brand and building yourself as a noticeable celebrity individual that's going to be in the public eye? Is that something that you can handle?
The two need to go hand in hand though, because I think we have a weird paradox. I think it's only cropped up since TikTok really, where you have people who are getting famous for nothing inherently valuable and they've got 1 million followers, but they don't actually do anything that people can buy or they can't, there's no business there. So I know personally people who've got 1 million plus followers who make, you know, they don't make any money really off of it. And then it's like, well, what's the point? Right? What's the point of having the following if you can't monetize it?
Great point,
Vice versa, I think I know people who drive McLarens and I know a guy who literally drives a McLaren, has a big mansion out in Clontarf. Not a single Instagram post about it. Nowhere. Like he's the most low-key guy you'll ever meet. But he's making millions from his company. So there's
no secret sauce.
But this is the thing. It's like, do you want to be the anonymous millionaire? Or do you want to be the famous guy who's collecting social welfare every Tuesday?
Can you do both though?
I think you can do both, but it's in the foundations. It's how you set it up. Because once you build, let's say I start a comedy page today and I become very famous in I make really funny content and I make skits, whatever. How do I make money from that?
Yeah.
I can't. And the problem is once you built it, you're now that guy. Like you can try change it, but people know you for that. So as much you can try and change perception and change how people view you, they will always remember you as the comedy guy. Unless you do some big PR stunt to change it. That's who you are now. So you need to from day one, you need to say, this is the brand I want to build. Here's the business that I want to integrate into it. So like I've just started Tapp. It's a digital business card. Where you basically load it with any link, tap it on someone's phone, and they're brought to that link instantly. The reason I've chosen that product is because it ties into my personal brand of, well, I'm a businessman, I'm an actor, I do a bit of whatever. Whatever I do, there's networking involved. You need to speak to people, you need to share your details, Instagram, LinkedIn, Spotlight for acting. Instead of me having the conversation and maybe missing that opportunity, I just tap it. That makes sense to my viewers. That makes sense to the people who watch my content. But if I'm a comedian and I try to sell that...
So how does that work? As like say myself and Keith, we're going to an event. We want to promote ourselves
here, by the way.
Yeah.
What's your biggest way of getting people into the podcast? Is it YouTube or where would the biggest viewership be?
Yeah, it'd be true. YouTube
channel. So if you wanted someone, if you were telling me on the street about your podcast, what would you tell me to go to?
Yeah, it'd be a long-winded kind of sale, wouldn't it?
Would it be YouTube or would there be a particular?
Probably Instagram.
Yeah,
Instagram.
Instagram.
So load it with your Instagram. You say, "Oh, you want to follow my Instagram? Awesome."
Boom.
There, and there's no guesswork. And even a lot of people give out business cards. So like, "Oh, here's all our details." They throw it in the bin or they chuck it. They don't care.
That's amazing,
and even if they don't care, it's in their phone. So even if you put it and they don't care, they're going to open up their Safari and think, "Oh, I remember those guys." If they see it then on their feed, I get a lot. Do you ever get when you go on social and the ads are what you were speaking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like they might get an ad about you guys, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I remember." So it's building, points in their mind where they remember. It's more memorable.
Yeah.
Versus just here's a business card.
That's launched and all, yeah.
Yeah, that's launched. It's all on my bio. Tapp.ie.
Brilliant.
2 P's. Yeah, but that's again. I was just thinking, what's something that ties in with me, and it's all very calculated. I'm the most like, I'm so authentic on social media. Sometimes I probably say too much. I probably say stuff I shouldn't say that isn't PR trained. But I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna lie to anyone. I'm not gonna be someone I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go on to. I'll go on a TikTok live and talk, about everything for 2 hours, whatever. But that's me. It's the most authentic, and my following has probably grown one of the most in the show this season because of that. I believe that's why, because I was just being honest. I wasn't trying to be someone I'm not. We were talking before, I answered the phone. I said, "What's the story?" I'm not trying to be anyone but me, and I think that
comes back to the authenticity.
But everyone is like, "Oh, I'm this guy's." Give me your favorite influencer right now.
My favorite influencer would be
putting you on the spot.
Yes, good one actually. Yeah,
Jordan Dargan. I'm not an influencer.
Yeah, you're taking that role now. Yeah.
Well, use
to the influencer. Yeah. So it's
KSI. Do you know KSI?
Yeah.
We use him, right? So I could be like, I love KSI's content. I really want to be like KSI, and they'll try and they'll emulate almost what he does. That ain't gonna work.
No,
because he's done it. Let's say now you've said that, but you're a really introverted, quiet person, but you love cooking, right? So you just make really quirky, weird videos, but you're cooking these beautiful dishes, and you make a shit ton of them, just loads of them. People, other weird, quiet, quirky people, are gonna go on and say, "Oh, he's like me, and he cooks as well. I love food," and they're gonna follow, and you'll see this, over time. People who are like you. So you don't need to be like KSI. You don't need to be like Jordan. You don't need to be like.
Is that why you post your music videos, say, on Instagram? Is that to relate to followers?
Yeah, because I do it because I enjoy it. I don't even do it for anyone else but me. Like, yes, I'm putting it out to the world, but it's because I'd be doing it anyway. Yeah. So I might as well do it and make a bit of content. If one person sees it and it makes their day better, then I might as well have it.
A lot of it, like you mentioned, influencers there, and we've had people through the door like that could be very anal when it comes to algorithms and
forget all that.
Can't post this because it'll disrupt this and everything else. Like it's a
minefield.
Yeah, it's a minefield, but it's also very, I think, unauthentic when it comes to showing who you really are. You know what I mean?
Do you want the secret to social media, right? The secret to social media. It's very, very simple. Well, I don't know if that helps. But and I'm a perfect example of this. People don't follow me and comment and like whatever because I make amazing content. They follow and like whatever because they've been watching The Apprentice and they've seen what I've done and they liked how I came across and they came to my social media and it matched up.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, this cool guy there, we like that. Or they might come to hate, who knows?
Yeah.
People don't follow Cristiano Ronaldo and like his stuff because he makes great football content. They follow and like him because they've seen him playing in the Champions League final. Yeah. He's my hero. Gonna go follow.
Yeah.
Everyone nowadays is like, how can I make the best viral content? Do something great. Do something you look. Honestly, build something amazing outside of social media. And when that gets picked up by press, when that gets picked up by everyone, they'll hear about you there. They'll come to your social media. Oh, he's the guy who did this. You don't have to be on The Apprentice. You don't have to be on Love Island. You could do a great podcast. Like podcast, I would say would even count because you're getting people on. You could just do something big. I think we live in a generation where everyone's safe. Everyone's playing it safe. I'd love to be an actor. I'd love to be in a big movie. You know, again, it's an opportunity to tell some great stories.
Don't be afraid to expose yourself.
Yeah. Put it out there, absolutely. But if I was in a big movie, people aren't going to follow me because of my content. They're going to follow me because they've seen that movie. They're like, he smashed it.
Get the first one out of the way.
Exactly. So I think people need to stop being so afraid to say, I want to be an actor. I want to be a musician. I want to be a football player. I want to be, an entrepreneur. I want to do these things. People need to just do them and realize that when that blows up, the following will come as a byproduct because people will be inspired. Michael Jackson didn't have an Instagram. Elvis Presley didn't have an Instagram, but everyone knew who they were. If they had an Instagram, how big would they be? So social media is not real. Social media is like it's a void, you know, and it's just an extension of who you are. I was out with Ben Williams. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yeah.
And we were speaking about this. Like, I've got a completely different level of if you want to call it fame, to him, where on the street, a lot of people, would notice who I am, but my social media following is minute compared to him.
Yeah.
But he hasn't got that mainstream introduction yet. If
Yeah.
he did, it would be, explode him, But
Interesting.
this is the point. It's like, do you want to go after that social media, or do you want to go after the mainstream and then let it come to you?
Yeah.
Same with money. Money is a byproduct of work. Everyone's like, I want to be a millionaire. How? Oh, I just want to be a millionaire.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, no, well, if you become the best carpenter or you become the best animator, people will want. I've never had to pitch why animation is cool and why they should have it. They've come to me and said, that is sick. How can we do something like that?
Because I've done it.
What was the process like trying to get into the Apprentice then? Did you have to pitch your Rendify Studios to them?
Yeah, so it was my second year applying. So when I moved to London, I was 19, applied, got to the final stage, and it was they put a camera in your face and they ask you a lot of questions, and I bricked it. So there was a fella just before I went in. I was like, oh yeah, bro, I've been doing this for 6 years. Yeah, don't worry, I know what they're gonna. I was like, oh, what are they gonna ask? Oh, they're gonna ask you this question, and gave me all the questions.
None of it.
And I went in with answers. I'm like, yeah, I've got this. Didn't ask a single question he gave me. And it just threw me on. I flopped it, didn't hear it back. I was waiting. I was refreshing my email, heard nothing back. Went back the second year. I said, screw that. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to go in and just say what comes to mind. And if it's good enough, it's good enough. If not, I can say it.
No, you gave it your all, yeah.
Exactly. And I went in. First round, you go into London. It's mad. You go into a room with like 30 people in a circle. They're like, every single person has 30 seconds, maybe not, maybe 10 in the first room, 30 seconds to say why you should be Lord Sugar's business partner. So we'll all eat. They'll be like number 5, number 3, number 6. They'll go at random.
Yes, you don't know.
You don't know when you're going to go. And when you go, you got your 30 seconds, and then you finish. They say, right, we're going to have a discussion. They all whisper among themselves. Right, number 5, 6, 7, you come with me. The rest of you go with this guy.
Do you remember what you said? I just want to put in there. Intrigued.
I think I said along the lines of, listen, I'm not hiding anything. I'm here to show Lord Sugar that I get him. I've been in his shoes. I don't come from money. Because there was a girl before me who said she made £2 million in the year. Yeah. And I said, I haven't made £2 million. I'm a damn hard worker. Everything I have, I've worked for. Right. Haven't handed a single thing in my life.
You bounced off her.
I bounced off it, but that's life. You need to be dynamic. You need to always
feel the room as well.
Feel the room.
I'm sure that was like
the first guy came on and he was like, "Hello everyone. So my name's Stephen. Not this Stephen. Yeah. My name's Stephen. Like and if you don't know me already, I'm the winner of the 2025 Apprentice." And sat back down. Didn't even use his 30 seconds. That was it.
You're going, but
he didn't make it past the first stage. But anyway, 3 of you will be taken. The rest are sent home. That's it. Their day's done. You get brought up to a second floor. It's a 1-to-1, just like this, just conversation. Yeah. Again, you'll be brought out. You either go down or you go up. So there's like 6 or 7 stages. Recorded, yeah? No, it's only the final stage is recorded. Okay. In the final stage, like the first question, both years was, any party tricks? So the first year I was like,
the Late Show.
Don't know. Second year, I had it ready. I was like, I wouldn't know. I'm too busy working. I don't go to many parties. Yeah. And she loved it. She ate it up, and I kept kind of rolling on that kind of confidence, but you know, a little bit.
I haven't got time for this.
Yeah. So went through all these, maybe 2-3 times. Flew to London, came back. Flew to London, came back, and I get an email saying, "Oh, would you be able to hop on a Zoom call?" And went, "Oh, I've made it. Yeah. This is my opportunity." So they said, "Jordan, you've done amazing. We've loved everything. We've loved you throughout the process. So we would like to offer you a place as a reserve on season 19 of The Apprentice." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" So they're like, "Well, it means you're not on the show, but if someone drops out or whatever, you're in, potentially." And they're like, "You don't have to take it, but if you do," and I was like, "Yeah, of course I'll take it. Like if there's a shot." So I'm waiting. I knew when the cutoff date was. Yeah. Waiting, nothing, hearing nothing back. And I was emailing them as well. I remember I got drunk one night and I sent a long email. I was like, this would mean everything to me. Please give me I literally just sent them like pleading with them, and I'm pretty sure they must have seen it because like 3 days later I got a call.
That's probably the one that done it for you. Yeah?
Well,
get this guy on.
Yeah. I'd given up on it. I genuinely was like, look, this is just not going to happen for me. Maybe next year. I was going to come back anyway. Even if I didn't make it. I was back for season 21. And so I'd taken on a client and I was ready. I was getting ready to start. I said, let me go get a haircut. Went to the barbershop. I'm at the barber halfway through the haircut. I've literally got half the hair's done, half of it's a big afro.
Yeah.
And I see a text, "Oh, can you hop on a call in the next 2 minutes?" I'm like, okay. So I say, "Oh, wait 2 seconds. I'm going to head out." So went out to my car, hair in bits, yeah. And I'm going to have to get on a Zoom call with like the head producer of the show. And they're like, "You all right there, mate? What's going on?"
Yeah, grand.
Yeah, just from the side. And they pretty much offered me a spot on the show.
What was that feeling like?
Oh, I felt like I was dreaming. I had to pinch myself. I was like, "This is." I started punching my roof. I kind of was like, "Sorry, can I have a minute?" Yeah, let's go. Yeah. And it hadn't really hit me. It was just I was hearing it, but I was like, "This isn't. This wasn't supposed to happen. I've got a client. I've got this." And then it became real. It's like, right, they want you to fly out tomorrow, and you've only got one suit, and you haven't packed a single thing, and you could be gone for 3 months. So rang up the mother and I said, "Ma'am, we're going to Blanche." And I was running from shop to shop, buying everything I needed, toothpaste, suits, everything. I spent ridiculous. We got paid like 500 quid initially for the show.
Right.
You get very little, and then we're getting 1,000. We still haven't got it. We're getting told anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't really get paid, so it's all out your own pocket.
Yeah.
Buying suits, buying everything.
Big commitment, like. Yeah.
And you don't know if you're gone for a week, if you're gone for 3 months. You don't know how it's going to play out. So I pretty much just overpacked. They let me have 2 suitcases because I was coming from Ireland.
Yeah.
And yeah,
was there fallout from the client that you were about to start with?
I called the client straight after and I said, "I've had some news. I'm going on The Apprentice," and I shouldn't have told them. I had an NDA, but look, I told them, and big fans of the show. I actually that was Crafted London, so they're a big jewellery company over in the UK.
Okay.
And I gave them a little shout out, and they loved that.
It probably reinforced their decision to employ you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that was one of my favorite clients I've ever done work for. It was the team. They're based in Manchester, and it was just so, like, they just paid me. They could have said, "Nah, screw this. Send us our money back. We're done."
Yeah.
But I was gone for 3 months, and they were like, "Fair.
Yeah, happy to
see you when you're back." Yeah.
What was the dynamic like in the group with everybody that was on the show? Compared to what we see on screen, the actual dynamic, let's say.
I believe you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And when I first went on, I was like, I'm going to suss everyone out. So when one person would talk, I'd notice everyone would kind of lean in and they'd pay attention. Another person would talk, no one cared. I'm like, no one respects that guy. He's going to be really salty. So how can I use that? My advantage. Okay, well, when this girl is walking, I can tell that these lads fancy her because they're looking at her every 2 seconds. So, right, how can I use that dynamic?
Yeah.
And I was taking it all in. And episode 1, I loved it. We literally got told, "You're flying out to Austria." Our first introduction, I've skipped something here. So our first introduction was literally in the boardroom. Like that waiting room area.
Yeah.
So I arrived in a taxi. You're in like isolation for 24 hours. You get your phone taken off. You're in a hotel. You're just they want you to like off grid exactly, and then you go in. So I got kind of brought to this random warehouse out in West London somewhere. It's not in Canary Wharf, the boardroom, the studio. And I get handed my business plan. I have my suitcase, and I just see like a black kind of clothed tunnel in front of me. I'm like, what's going on in here? Do I want to walk down there? What's going on? So walk to the end of it, and as I get to it, I see the blue carpet. I'm like, no way. That is literally the waiting room. Dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. So I'm thinking I must be the first one here. I walk in, and I'm the last one because the room is just full. I'm like, my heart's rate just started going. Hand down my business plan, walk over. I recognised Liam because me and Liam had done the auditions together. So I recognised him. Went in. That, by the way, that bit where they're filming in the boardroom, you'll see 5 seconds. That takes ages, like 30 minutes. You're there. Right, we'll get that shot. Right, we'll get that shot. And they're getting all the different shots. That takes a lot of time to do that. Then you go in the boardroom. The boardroom is the most unedited bit of the show. What is said, and someone tried to get Lord Sugar to even repeat something. He said, "No, I'm one take. That's it. I don't want to be doing all this whatever business, So he'll go around and ask everyone, Jordan, I see you've done this. Okay, Liam, I've seen you done. Ask everyone, and then he's like, right, you're going to Austria. I'm like, what? You're going to Austria? Cool. So I'm thinking, what, like 2 days? No, you're going today. I'm like, right. So we literally had to go unpack the suitcases that we've just packed into a small, you know, the little. I had 2 big suitcases, and then you had the little one that you bring in each day with you. Had to pack that
for a holiday
for like 5 days. I brought like 2 pairs of jocks with me, so I was doing like inside out and everything. It was great. And yeah, went to Austria. I had to deal with Nadia. That was fun. You know, I have a lot of respect for Nadia now, but at the time I couldn't stand her.
Yeah,
I couldn't stand her. Like, they had one camera, so this is where you guys might not see. They had one camera, and you're selling to the public. So if I go to sell to person A, but the cameraman has followed Nadia to person B because she's just gone off in her own way, that I can't talk to that person now because I need to ask them, are you okay to be filmed? Are you this? Are you that? Then get into it. And they have to sign like a release form.
So it's even harder than it's perceived. Like
exactly, like you just like, oh, why couldn't they just sell? You don't realize before that happens, there's so much that goes in to just make them be able to be shown on the TV. You know,
Is that all explained to you obviously beforehand? Though?
So this is another thing that caught me completely off guard. Before a task, you get 10 minutes to read a thing called a dossier, where it breaks down everything, you know, options, all that. You have 10 minutes to read it. Yeah. And this is like a 15-page document. And everything you should know is in there. But like, if you haven't got something or you miss something, you don't know. So there's times where I miss things because so usually like there'll be 2 teams and it will tell you what each team. I would decide I'm going on that team. And I would only read what there is with that team. And I remember there was one task where I got put on the other team and I was screwed. I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I had to kind of freewheel it. But yeah, that tells you all.
You mentioned Nadia there, like, and obviously in that episode, like, and you get to that moment, like, where I think it's a panic station where people feel like they have to get themselves,
get the screen time,
get on there. Is that something that, you know, sort of dwindles over time? Does it get more relaxed? And sort of. Yeah,
definitely midway point, and then as you get to the end, it happens again. Yeah, it's like now it's, you know, episode 8. It's 2 tasks that I need to make an 8 because I don't want to be the invisible guy who we can't see. I actually had in episode 1, I had a great moment at the end of it where we were at a schnapps distillery. And we had to explain the process of how they distill it, and it's identical to whiskey, bar at the beginning where they put fruit instead of whatever they put in whiskey and barley and whatnot. So I explained that, and that was their favorite part of the tour. I went in depths. I was thinking they were going to give me some beautiful cinematic moment where I'm showing all my, you know, here the Irish guy who can talk about whiskey for 2 hours. Didn't show none of it. Didn't show me talking. Didn't show me doing anything. And I think that's a perfect example of, you have an idea. There was a guy on it last year who we got to speak with, and his first thing he said was, whatever you think happened, forget it. Because you have an idea. When this airs, I can guarantee you it's not gonna line up. You know, you think you know what happened. And very quickly that became apparent. You know, even before it went on, I got a load of crap with like, this guy's not Irish, we don't claim him. Well, this blue, I'm not even going to get into that. I'm just talking like rubbish.
Nonsense.
So then when episode 1 came out, I did speak to like, this Irish guy's invisible. He's going to be sacked, whatever. I was the favorite to be fired in episode 1. They actually had like a betting system where like, you know, who's going to be fired this week. I was favorite to be fired week number 1, but I knew what happened. So I'm like, I'm really upset. Like, I'm going to be fired. This is horrible. And it didn't happen. I'm like, surprise. And then week 2, I was still for the first few weeks, I kept being bottom 3, whatever. And then it kind of went up, and then very quickly it would come back down. I was just bottom for the whole series. And then episode 10, I was favorite to win it. And then interviews, I was favorite. Episode 10, I was favorite to win it. Then interviews, I got fired. But yeah, the public, everything that happens in the public and the fans and the critics, you can't prepare for that. I don't care who you are, what you cannot prepare for. You think you can, and then it happens, and it's like, I can listen to you talk crap about, you know, whoever, Lady Gaga, great. When it's you who's getting talked crap about, my first, I remember I got a phone call. We had a PR company who dealt with everything and let you know if a story was coming out. And well, I think I was 18, 19. I was smoking a joint, and it was in one of my friends' profiles, and there was a video of it. There's like a 2-second clip of me doing it. I don't smoke that, but it's like, it was funny because I was the guy who didn't do it. They thought, let me get a quick video of Jordo doing it. And they've got it, and they've had a whole the son have pretty much taken the picture and said, we're going to run a story on this. He's supposed to be a role model for the next whatever. And they've titled it "You're Hired" and spelled like HIGH. You're hired, and tried to pay me, and I'm like, and it didn't go anywhere. It was a rubbish story. I knew it was going to go.
Who's going to that length to get that stuff?
Yeah, but it's just like
Just don't do that.
But it was the first time I read everything you do. You need to be like, if you're out, you can't really get buckled. You can't be just in a corner, you know, peeing against the wall. You can't. You have to be so careful about what you're doing. It's not even just reporters. People will see you doing something and they'll go to the Sun. They say, I've got a story on Jordan. He's been doing this. He's been doing that. And you just...
The paparazzi's mad
you
over
become
there.
very paranoid. Very, very paranoid.
You mentioned there, obviously, the weeks of the interviews. You're bringing your Rendify in for people to actually give you feedback for the whole nation to comment on. What was that like?
You know you're going to be ridiculed. If you brought, you know, Amstrad in, I'm sure they'd find stuff on that. You know, you're going to be ridiculed. You know that. And I just went in saying, look, my clients know what I do. I provide a service. They believe it's a good service. They pay for it every month. And anything they say is just, you know, it's, I'll take it as advice. I'll take it as mentoring. And yeah, like everything I got, there was nothing really I was surprised by. He bought my company on Company's House in the UK. And I was like, well, I don't trade in the UK, I trade in Ireland. He's like, yeah, but Lord Sugar doesn't want to deal with an Irish company. So what are you going to do now? And I'm like, well, I guess I'll have to. And then I tried to argue, well, you don't need to trade as the legal name of the company. I can make a different company and trade as Rendify. He's like, well, I'll just sue you then. And I was like, okay. So yeah, like there's no winning. Like if they have even Linda gave me an amazing to get to the final five at 21 years of age is amazing.
Brilliant.
Your business plan is absolutely rubbish though. It's a car crash. Like, okay. And then she's saying, you say you're going to do these numbers, you're delusional. I'm like, no, I believe I'll hit. No, you're delusional. It's like, what can you say to that? You know, so it's you know that whatever you say, you're delusional. You didn't do your numbers. You didn't do your research. You're rubbish. You're this. You're that. Cool. I think my biggest downfall is that I was the business. It was me. I learned how to do it. I offered it to people, and my plan now is, well, I know how to do it. Let me hire people like me and train them up and whatever. But at the time, even now, is mainly just me. Like I have a few freelancers who come on and they help me, but majority of it is just me. And I think he needed a system. You know, Dean already has the system.
Okay.
And Nisa already had the system in there. Whereas I was like, I want the investment to build the system. So he was like, well, when I've got these three, when it was the final three I'm talking about, when we've got these three people, I've got two people who've got the system in place and have it built. So all the money can go to just duplicating the system. And I've got this one lad who needs it built from scratch. And that's, I think that's what it came down to. That's what he said.
Is that not what the whole apprentice thing should be? You're going for the person.
You're there to be the apprentice, you know, to
learn a system,
and start from the ground up and come up. Look, I think if this was
Lord Sugar though, but
I think, and look, I've nothing but respect for Lord Sugar. I think he clearly gave me a lot of gems when we were on the show. I've been back and forth. He's set me up with, you know, a few people in his network, which has been great. But yeah, I will say if it was maybe 10 years ago, he probably had it in him to be like, I want to do that. I want to. But so many people have just screwed him over since winning. Like they get the investment. Would flop because they didn't put in the work. They thought he was the fairy godmother here. Your business is going to boom. It didn't. And then they're like, oh, he's rubbish. He's this, he's that. So I think he just wanted something a bit safer this year. Can't fault that. You know, the guy's almost 80 years of age.
Any friendships are on the show, or is it as cutthroat as it looks?
There was some, like me and I would say my three in there. Probably Dean. I got on well with everyone. There was no one. I've made a point to not really fight with anyone. Up until the final 2 weeks, me and Liam were very close. There was a bit. There was a few fights in that. Like we were in the same room from week one. Right up until the final week.
So it's tough as well.
And people were leaving, and me and him were the only two that were consistently there in terms of guys.
Yeah.
Dean was always in the other room. So me and Liam naturally had a bond, but that kind of fell off. Dean was like my dad in there. Dean was like the older lad who just, if I needed man advice, he'd give it. And then Mia was my mom. So Mia would cook. I think I cooked once, the whole 3 months. She cooks for me. Honestly, like there was days where she wouldn't cook. I don't feel like cooking for everyone, but I'll cook for Jordan. You know, like she would look after me. I remember I got sick at some point, and she'd be making me like honey ginger tea and getting me blankets and everything. Like properly looked after me, and I've nothing but love for Mia. She's
shout out.
Yeah, Mia was probably the one I was closest with, without a doubt. Got on well with Max as well, but it's I think the people I got on well with were the ones who understood. Will fight on task. But when we get back to the house,
it's family.
It's family. Yeah. You can't mix it. That's why they say don't mix friends and business. It's like, I think friends you can understand business is business and friendship is friendship, then it's fine. But the average person can't. They can't split the two up.
It's an experience that you will all come out of that probably will be the only one.
It's like the army. Yeah. It's like the army. Look, when I came out, I only spoke to the candidates because these are the only people who understand me.
Yeah.
And this was before it was aired. Like, I feel like my mom, like I'm telling her, but she doesn't get my girlfriend at the time. I was like, she can't really get it, but these people get me. That's what it's like. It's a brotherhood, a sisterhood, whatever, like a camaraderie ship that I think being in a bubble with anyone for 3 months will give you that.
The amount of things you've told us, even upstairs in the visitor centre, that we would have never thought the process would have been. Like, we see what's on the TV. And you take that as gospel. You take that as that's it. Like, so
eye-opening.
You can't change that. You can't change. I've learned this. You can't change public perception with a statement. You can't change it with a single video. You can just change it by the results of what you do. So everything I do, I'm like, right, people are going to think what they're going to think. I'm going to carry on. If I'm sad, I'm going to do the same thing. If I'm happy, I'm going to do the same thing.
Did you realise you were taking that risk when you were going in?
I thought when I came out, people would love me. I thought people would be like, yeah, this guy, we can get behind him, whatever. I got the most hate out of anyone on it. The candidates have collectively said...
From the UK or Ireland? Or
both. Just viewers. Well, obviously I had the stuff at the beginning, but in terms of just the show, like people just did not like me. They're like, he's arrogant, he's cocky. There was a task where I won as PM, and I was like, oh, my back is hurting from carrying the team, or saying something like that. Look, you're playing up to the cameras, it's whatever.
It's Irish banter, though.
Exactly, and I gave a bit of, I think I said I gave a clear brief, and I had given a clear brief, but they didn't show that.
Yeah.
So then they show me saying I gave a clear brief, but didn't show me doing it. And
screwed you.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't even worry about like, oh, that's in the past, But it's things like that. It was like people like, oh, this Irish guy he needs to go. But when they're hating on your page, they're bringing interaction, they're bringing engagement. So I was like, keep hating, keep it coming. And I'd be like, oh, it's really upsetting me, and that would make them even more angry.
You have to be strong to take that, don't you? And actually use it to sort of.
I had weeks where it ruined my week. Yeah. I had weeks where it ruined my week, where like I'd be reading it, and what I believe that perception is reality.
Yeah.
If you perceive something to be a certain, that's how it is.
Yeah.
When I deleted Twitter, when I deleted Reddit, when I deleted. There wasn't much hate on Instagram and TikTok, a little bit, but Twitter and Reddit hate me. I don't even.
It's a cesspit.
That's like Southside Dublin. I just don't go there. You know what I mean?
It's a cesspit.
It's horrible. It's just people going on there just to share negativity. So when I deleted them, I didn't perceive it because I didn't know about it. I was like, everyone loves me. It's great.
Regenerate then,
yeah.
So Rendify, then where can people find your services if they're looking for?
RendifyStudios.com. It's all on my Instagram, just Jordan Dargan.
Show notes anyway.
Yeah. But it's listen. I always say, everyone keeps asking. Everyone wants to know what's next. I've got the digits.
Yeah.
I've got all the clout right now from the show, and people know who I am. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna keep telling beautiful stories, whether that's with my music, whether that's with my animation, whether that's with acting. Hollywood. I think for me, Hollywood is the dream. And I'll say that, and I'll look anyone in the eye and say, that's the dream. I want to play for Man United when I'm a kid. I believe I can do it. I believed The Apprentice could happen, and it happened.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, I believe it's going to happen, let me just sit around and manifest it. I believe it's going to happen. What are the steps I need to take to make it right? I need to get an agent. I need to be self-taping. I need to be auditioning. I need to be doing like I actually, this is where the perfection thing comes in.
Yeah.
When I have a plan, I don't have dreams. I have plans of action. Like what does it take? A lot of the time, the steps to do it, the steps to set up a podcast, get a camera, get a mic, get a studio. That's it. But that's not enough. It's persistence. It's even when it's happened, do it again and again and again. I think you guys are insane and I'm insane because we all understand that even when something's not popping off straight away, you need to keep going.
Keep going. Yeah.
Sounds like you've learned a lot from that Ford Fiesta.
Yeah, that's where it all started. I'd say everything has a knock-on
transaction.
effect. Yeah. Literally, it was the worst purchase, one of the worst purchases of my life, but it changed my life as well.
Now you're in your Louis Copeland.
Yeah. Shout out Louis, yeah.
Good man, Louis.
What's the hardest question we ask you?
Spotify playlist.
I've actually prepared for this one.
That's a first.
That's surprising,
Yeah. So I'm gonna go for The Boys Are Back in Town.
Oh, nice.
Is it there?
No, it's
not there. It's not there. No,
The Boys Are Back in Town. Every time I come home, I play on the plane. I wait until I can see we're coming into the airport.
Yeah.
And just before we tap down, it's the start the song. Yeah. I adore Phil Lynott. I think he's what he did in his time. He was just so unapologetically himself.
Yeah.
You know, he someone asked him, what's it like to be black and Irish? He's like, it's like a pint of Guinness. Yeah, it's like being a pint of Guinness, whatever. Like he would laugh. It was laughable to him that people would think he's anything but Irish, you know, and Republic of Ireland. And he was just cool. His aura was so cool. I remember back, would it have been the 70s, he went on to the Late Late Show. Yeah. You'd come in your black suit, tie, you know, very formal. He came in a cream suit, yellow tie. He's like, oh yeah.
What's the story?
He's just like, that's my version of it. What's the story? But no, like, I aspire to be at that level one day. You know, he's a cool guy. If they ever make a Phil Lynott movie, you know,
hit me up.
Not
me.
Not me.
Yeah. You guys will be invited to the premiere.
Get the
Yeah. You can't be wearing this though.
No,
Jesus. We need to get
the costume.
We need to get you over to Louis Copeland.
Man, Louis, I said it 3 times now. Something has to come from it.
Yeah.
Jordan, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much,
lads.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Safe home, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Right, another overload segment in the can. Jordan Dargan, what an interview.
What a sound fella. Gave us a great insight into the show and the ins and outs of how we got on the show.
Yeah.
Taking it last minute was a brave decision for him, and fair play to him. And it's like what you were saying as well earlier before I even met him, he's a great role model for any young person trying to get into that type of industry or having the balls to go on a show like that.
Yeah, put yourself out there and put yourself out there for everybody to comment on, you know what I mean? And not just comment on your business acumen and your business idea and your plans for the future, but to comment on yourself and how you conduct yourself is a great ask to be able to, you know, showcase yourself and put your best foot forward. So fair play to him, and you know, he's one to look out for, and I certainly am going to keep an eye out on the likes of LinkedIn and Instagram and try and keep an eye on how he gets on and how the business gets on, you know.
But if Lord Sugar thinks there's something in him, I'm sure there is, like, you know, so.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess we'll keep rolling on. We've got Adam Foley joining us now in the studio for the special guest interview segment.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. I kind of want to just jump right into it too.
Yeah, let's go for it. This episode is coming to you in association with Snickers Workwear Ireland.
So jump on to snickersworkwear.ie, see what they have on offer and find your local stockist.
Adam, thanks for joining myself and Keith in the studio. Delighted to have you. Great to see you again.
Cheers, lads. You too. Good to see you.
Great to have a local our lad. If anyone doesn't know, that's Balbriggan slang for what would be May.
Yeah. I had to explain it lots of times where I'm obviously living up in Drogheda now, so I have to explain our to a few people over the last number of weeks.
Yeah.
I think the biggest question is Balrudry or Balbriggan?
Do you know what? It's Balrudry don't want us because we're not in the village. Balbriggan don't want us because we're not in the town. So we're just this bunch of mongrels in the middle of the town. And we're happy being there. We're always left to our own.
That was as far as we were allowed to go, wasn't it? Up to the Chantries direction. We'd be shot on sight going up as far as the church.
We weren't allowed. To be fair, like there was nothing really for us to go outside because we had everything.
Yeah.
As it was just like all of us, like none of us had a pot to piss in. We were just all a bunch of young lads messing around playing football all together. So we had the field and we had the golf club and we had the pitch beside us, and that's all we needed.
Yeah.
So
and the shop.
And a shop, Which your old Mary used to give us the sweets, but every time you go in and get the sweets at Barrudgy, she'd lick her fingers before she gets the sweets.
No.
So the cola bottles be drenched before you even get them in your bag.
Be soggy. You're all stuck together.
Let's spit, Mary. Let's spit, please.
But look, we're bringing it back, and like me and Stephen know you well, but for anyone that doesn't, around the boys at Drogheda United that don't know you, as well as we do, what was it like in school growing up, and where did you go to school?
School, so we all me and all the lads went to Barrudgy primary school, and then we're obviously there the whole way through, and then we were going to go to the Tech together. Well, I wanted to go to the Tech because all my brothers went there, but all the lads just decided to go to Skerries, so I went with them, just stayed together, and we stayed together ever since, really. And even out to this day, like we're 30 plus years, all best mates, and all groomsmen and best man at each other's weddings, and nothing's changed. It's still the exact same. But school, I wasn't the best student. No, I was actually I actually brought the cup back to Barrudgy Primary School a few months ago, and I was looking at the difference in the teachers now to what probably we would have had. I'm not using that as an excuse, I just wasn't a good student. But look at them, like the kids call the teacher by their first name. Just banter, camaraderie and everything with them. And then where like even now you have the term like back then, like there was no such thing as dyslexic, ADHD, autism, right? You're just basically, you're the dope, you're stupid, you're disrupting class, out you go. Where now you look at this, all different things for different kids and ways to manage it. And I think it's so good now because there's so many, like you'd be like a sponge in school now. You learn so much because the teachers obviously set the example. And it's probably great. Even when I see my nieces and nephews not love school. It's great with our mates, and then they're learning as well and that. But I was the opposite. I just wanted to get out at lunchtime, play with the lads up in the tar or in the grass. And then secondary school I was a bit better in secondary school. Not great, but a bit better. But again, it's just more. I think my head was just more focused on football. That's all I wanted to do.
Going to school to play football.
Going to school to play football. Best.
But in the Tech, like it used to be it's like a badge of honour, like, if you were in the football team and, getting out of engineering or getting out of tech graphics and heading off for the matches, and had a few games over in Skerries as well. But what was it like over in Skerries in secondary school knowing you were part of the football team? You know
what? It was great because it was getting you out of the Balbrigg and Barrudgy bubble. And I think that was great for us as just getting to know people from different areas. So we went over to Skerries, and Skerries is full of people from Balbrigg and Barrudgy, Rush, Lusk, Lough Donna Bay, and obviously Skerries. So we had a great mix of lads there and girls. So we were in a mixed school, but very enjoyable.
Always had a good football team as well.
Decent, we won. We actually won the Leinster Junior. When you're in school and you're don't know if your name to be called out in the intercom, yes, got a goal or something like that.
You're in junior, so you're playing for the leaving cert side.
Yeah. You're a bit older, play for them as well, But like it was great because we had a good squad. We had a very good squad. We had a lot of lads who played either League of Ireland or went on over to America. We won the Leinster Junior actually in 5th year, I think it was. Stephen Beattie, myself, we obviously had Shane Langan and a lot of good players. Even lads from Balbriggan would have been playing as well. So we very good squad.
What was the club team that you were playing with?
A lot of them were playing either with Skerries, then the other lads who were with, well, for our case it would have been Glebe, and then other boys would have been playing for Home Farms and Kevin's and a bit more higher up DDSL wise. So your
training wise during the week with the school and the club and everything was pretty much all football? Yeah, it
would have been. But the school was just matches. We done one. You had to do one trial. To get onto the team, and one of the lads told the teacher that he was just literally recently over in Arsenal on trial, and like we knew who the lad was. The manager was so excited to see. He's like, "Can't wait to see this kid." We're like, "Who?" And he said his name. I was like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "Yeah, I can't wait to see it too." And he came down. He never played Arsenal, did he? Said no, he fucking didn't. Go kick a ball, but he turned up in a full Arsenal kit.
He owned it anyway.
Yeah, he rocked it. But in fairness, it was Yeah, just her. But we good banter and all that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, we never trained with just one trial game, and then you turned up for your matches. You got picked in the squad, and that was it. You were.
I just remember, like myself and yourself, we used to be like, I think it was Brentford training maybe, like, so it was Dublin selection squad on the Mondays, and then you'd be training with the Brigham team on the Tuesday, playing football with the school on the Wednesdays, back with the club on the Thursdays. I think you might do a second training session with the Dublin on the Friday, and then you'd be playing Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a big chunk of your childhood, isn't it? Like
yeah,
football,
it's a massive. It's very time consuming, especially like where I grew up. Like I was lucky that a lot of the lads that I played with were in the same estate. And again, Glebe was only down the road, so we just cycled down. So, but if I played anywhere far away, I wouldn't be able to play because my mum raised 4 lads by herself. So it's not like getting the lifts everywhere. Oh, she couldn't do it. But we used to. I was lucky that I had 2 or 3 of the boys from the same estate, and we all went. I able to jump in the car with them, and it was dead handy. But if I played like the likes of the Brentford, I used to go to the Brentford with the same boys, and again, I used to go up there. I used to never get picked. Go up there, train well, do well in the games, do well. Again, never get picked. And then, obviously, further down the line, it was, I don't know if you was, obviously, when you went to them trips, it was like 500 quid, 550. That was Irish pound, like punt. Like, I was like, even if I did get picked, which I wouldn't be able to afford to go. One parent, one income, you know what I mean? Like, that's all we had. So, there's no way we could even afford to go. And then I was, the first time I actually got picked for something is when I went to the FOS course, the FOS FII course, and I was like 17. And I got picked, and the first time I ever got picked, I was like, wow. And then that's when I just started going, elevating my career from there. But before then, when I was a kid, I used to get rejected all the time.
Did that affect you? Like?
It would have been because I used to suffer, I didn't realise, but I used to suffer with performance anxiety quite a lot. So you might be fearing failure or fearing a bad pass or fearing what the opposition are doing or what they think or what someone might say. And especially as a kid, because I'd know kind of like, not even role model, but just an actual a male presence growing up
in your ear. Like.
Yeah, so not saying my mum that wasn't tough for him. That she is. She's strongest I know, but you kind of know yourself. You don't have that male. Yeah, you need that arm around you, a bit of guidance, and I probably never really had that. I used to kind of look up to my brothers, but the 2 oldest lads don't play, and then Kieran stopped kind of at 16, 17 kind of time. So. I never really had that, so you kind of have to learn your own way, and I definitely suffered along because I would have been good growing up, but then when I got to maybe like 13, 14, it started getting a little bit challenging for me, and I kind of wasn't great for a good couple of years until I got myself, my mindset right, and I got onto that course. That's when I said, right, now I'm able to handle this now.
I think the turning point for you was a very, very high profile transfer swap deal in the Fingal area. It was in a lot of papers. But I was playing for Glebe North, you were playing for Balrodry.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, it was a lot of now from listening to you, it was a lot of building confidence up at the young age.
Yeah.
You were peaking at Balrodry, like a lot of people knew who you were, knew you were a good footballer, but you played for Balrodry. So that was kind of like, he's good in that league. But then you went to Glebe North, Liam Kelly, I think.
Yeah,
took you in there in the first team.
Yeah, it was.
That's when it started to.
That's when it kicked on again, because when I was with Balrodry, it was more kind of, I felt confident and comfortable within the environment, even though it was a senior environment. But when you're playing against lads who are probably nowhere near you, especially you're a young kid, I'm playing against older players, but like you're 16 and it's not a great level of football, but you're scoring every week or you're being effective, and that just builds confidence. And and then the following year, I signed again. With a manager coming in called Shay Kavanagh. God rest him, he passed away a couple of years ago. And Shay just took a liking to me and won the lads straight away. And he looked after us all the time. And when I got the chance to go on the trial for the FOS FII course, I believe Shay had a word with the manager to get me, to help get me on.
He was one of those lads that you just knew he was connected some way. You didn't know how or why. He's one of like fan alone, God rest him as well. He's like one of those type of lads,
and I hadn't a clue, and then I found out later on at Shay, because when I said to him, and did you get into the squad, and he knew this before I even said it. I was kind of looking at him, I was like, and then I found out he put in a word, and I couldn't be more thankful to him, because if he didn't do that for me, I would not be here at all. And then I've struggled for the first couple of months in that course because I was still playing with Barrudgery, but all the boys on the course were playing with Rovers, Pats, Bows, Bray, and I was like, this is another level. So I for the first 3 months, you know how young lads are. If you're shy within that, they judge you from your football point of view, and then you don't really kind of get too many mates at that stage. And then Jerry Davis came in halfway through. He was one of the coaches. With Bobby Smith again. Bobby passed away a couple of years ago, and actually the trophy now between all the courses is named after Bobby. And Jerry took over, and Jerry was in charge of the amateur football team, the representative of what like the Leinster Senior League would be. So the Barrudgery one, he would have been in charge of all like the likes of Kilmore lads and so on. And Jerry came in and he just sat down with me, and he was also in with the Irish amateur team. And he said, "You are not going to improve as a player if you stay where you are." I said, "You have to leave." I said, "I'm going to bring you in training with the Irish team and I'm going to show you." So he brought me in, and the ball was just getting popped. Could not get near anyone. Put me centre mid. He'd done it to teach me. And I was like, "Geez, that was a massive lesson." And I realised after I said to him, "I'm leaving Barrudgery." I said, and then we just happened to play Glebe Saturday side, and obviously done well in the game. It was just a friendly. And Liam rang me then the next day. He seen me. The players went in and said, "You have to sign him." He rang me the next day, and that was it. And Liam was great for me. He just put me kind of under his wing. He looked after me. Obviously, I couldn't afford to pay membership or Ford gear. Again, I said, didn't have a pot to piss in. He looked after me no matter what.
You mentioned like male role models and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But not only Liam, was Paul Lumsden there?
Paul was there at the start, and Dwayne, and then because Paul, if you remember, Paul went to Drogheda, I think shortly after.
Right, yeah.
And then Barry Ferguson came in.
That's right.
With Liam. And obviously we Critty there as well, but I couldn't class Critty. So I thought he was talking to Critty 2 days ago. I couldn't class him as a role model, but experience. But an experience, a great fella to have around you. But it's people like him, like Critty and
great bit of balance
that mould you into how to behave around people and how you can act and just kind of be yourself. Like,
not afraid to slag you, like if you do something wrong.
No, and there's no better man than him to slag you either. But when I had Jerry was my first one to really recognise that. Shay would have been the one to say that you can go on here. Jerry was the first one to really put me in a position to go on, and then Liam just took me under his wing, and just so they're 3 key people in my whole life of football. And I stayed.
How long did you stay with Glebe for?
I stayed with Liam for 5 years. We won the charity. We actually, it was this day 17 years ago. I popped on my phone before I come up here. Because I was only thinking of it, the Charlie Cattle Cup. We hadn't won a senior competition, or the Charlie Cattle, in 17 years as a club. And we won it under Lane. We beat Wayside on penalty. We were 2-0 down after a couple of minutes, and we pulled it back. And again, great days, but we've such a good team. I mean, it was like I was probably, and you and Podge would have been the 3 youngest. So I wasn't riddled with young players as such. We just had the perfect balance and blend. And then you had players like Jay Lowney, you Podge Barrett, you Pat Campbell, you Chris Costello, you Locko obviously at that stage as well. But then you had obviously Dimpo and Al Mack and all these kind of lads, and then you had Gibbo and Adam McGarry, and you just had loads of lads coming through. Austin McCann brothers then came down as well. So we had an unbelievable squad. And shortly when it kind of coming to the end of my time in the senior team, it's like a lot of them lads left when we were just getting the challenge for the title then. Because Boots came in, and then Ado Harper came in, and then Stephen Place came in, and Jamie Harris came in, Davy Worrell came down. These lads are like playing over in England, and then eventually the other lads were getting kind of on a little bit, and I was just coming into where I wanted to be. I'm ready to kind of lead now, ready to go, and I want to win things because we got the taste of the cup and we won that, and it just made you more hungry for wanting to win. But having those lads around me helped me get to where I was going. But then I left, and when I was 23, I had the chance to sign for Longford. Barry came with me to meet the Longford manager at the time, and just I didn't get a good feel of it. I didn't know how to act or behave. I haven't been in contract talks before, but I had the chance to sign a few years before for other clubs. But I just loved it at Glebe. Liam always told me he wanted me to stay for as long as I can. Now I don't know if that was for him or for me.
Yeah, probably for him.
But any of the lads have guided you in any way with the likes of Boots, or any of the lads who've done it, have been through it, and would they have guided you?
Boots would have helped me massively, because when he came to Glebe, we were challenging for the league, and he left in January to go back to Glenavon to keep them in the league. And when he left, we just went boom, and we finished just above relegation. And I was sick he left, because see, playing with him, you pop the ball into a centre forward, hold it and bring it. And obviously my game was pop it in and go and bring me into play. Yeah. And there was no better than him. Honestly, no better than him. He's probably like he's in the top players I've ever played with and ever seen. And the best out of Balbriggan by a mile. Yeah. And just having him there in the dressing room, just even to pick his brain. And he put a word in for me. For Glenavon rang me one day. Now I wasn't fluent in Northern Irish at the time, so your man rang me. Oh my God, the manager rang me at the time, and I'm going to try his accent.
Will you text that to me?
Thursday. So I went up on the Thursday, and one session offered me a 2-year deal straight after the session. And that was it. That was it done. And then when I got up there, I again loved every bit of it. I was surrounded. I actually went up with Guy Bates. And we picked up Andy Coleman again, two of my close mates in football now, still to this day. And I went up with the two of them. So Batesy picked us up in Drogheda, went up with him, picked up Coleman and Yuri, went to train. And then two lads, best of mates in the car. So I'm a bit kind of keeping to myself. I don't know all these boys too well. Yeah. And the two boys nearly kicked the shit out of each other in training. And I was like, geez, this is going to be some car journey on the way home. It was didn't phase them. Two of them just hugging each other and all in the car way home, as if like, and that kind of helped me to say, right, that's what it's.
These lads are pushing each other.
Yeah, they're pushing each other. They want to win so badly, but they don't. It stays there on the pitch. On the pitch, they're still best of mates. But I always remember thinking, Jesus Christ, these lads are going to kick the shit out of each other.
What's wrong with
it? 7 all right.
They lived home.
Yeah.
That's probably around the time I started seeing you in the gym then, was it?
Yeah, that's because the reason why I actually started going to the gym was because after I signed for Glenavon, I signed a 2-year deal. Second game, I done me cruciate.
I remember talking to you about that, because that's what I'd always say about Adam. Like, if he was ever injured, he'd be fucking baiting the gym out.
Yeah. From my own head. It was because you can sit there and you can wallow in it and you can beat yourself up about it, but you can't do anything about it.
I might have went maybe 2 nights a week, but it didn't matter what night I went down. Adam, nearly without fail, he probably went 5 nights a week.
Yeah, all the time. Just because the only thing I could do was upper body at the time until I could get myself back. Yeah. But I missed out on so much that year. But again, what I learned that year is being around senior pros. The lads that we had in the dressing room they've won Irish Cups, they've won the Irish Leagues all up the north with Linfields and so on. And Gaz obviously used to be the manager. Used to learn a lot from him because he played with Blackburn and then he was with Glens. But they were full of winners. But it was a proper gargle team as well.
Yeah, the lads accepted. Was there a good acceptance of lads from the south coming up north? Like
there was. I think Boots helped that massively. And then you Trevor Malloy that used to be up there as well. So yeah, Glenavon had a decent few Republic of Ireland lads up there, but it was strange at the time because when you first went up, I remember my first pre-season I went up and it was like young lads, it was around the 12th of July and I obviously was never experienced to that, didn't even know anything about it, so we're back here, so you see young lads with pallets 5 years of age and they're building their bonfires and the tricolours are all hanging up and they're all about to burn them and I'm like, they're just trying to go to train and I was like, this I was like, what's going on here? So yeah, that was a bit hard to kind of take at the start because you obviously you can't say anything either as much. You're like, hang on a minute here. So you're like, then you realise it's like hundreds and hundreds of
Halloween.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's very hot to be Halloween. So not even a banger in sight, yeah. And these young lads are just again bringing a tricolour up and thinking, there's some good Irish lads there. Like, oh no.
So it's a flag
hanging them up around the burn them.
And the following week then they're in the stands then.
And in the stands supporting you, come over, picture, autograph, the whole lot. So look, that's just there. Like
the training that you described, like it all just gets left on the pitch.
Gets left,
whatever happens outside it's a different thing. It's politics.
Yeah, exactly. And something that I try and keep away from, regardless of what way you look at it. But yeah, so I at the first year of Glenavon, so I done my cruciate and we won the Irish Cup that year. So I missed out on that.
Tough.
And then we got into Europe, so we're playing Europa League, and I was just missed out on that as well. So it was killing me. And obviously, when a club gets successful, it brings in better players. So you're already at the back of the line, and now you bring in better players. You're pushed further back. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this is hard to get into now. So now you're going from being in with a shout to now no chance. So I played a lot of reserve games because I was getting myself back to fitness from my injury.
Yeah.
And then I just had a chat with the manager. I was like, look, it's just not working out. So I'm not going to get minutes here. I think it's best if I go on. And in fairness to him at the time, he always left the door open for me. to return. So I went back and I played. I went back to Leinster Senior League, done a couple of months there, and I just started getting my confidence back. So banging in goals, doing well, feeling good. Then Portadown came in, and Portadown, who were Glenavon's rivals, offered me a deal. I went up and signed it. Now, they were on minus 12 points at the time. So I was like, this is the banker for me to play. Yeah. So I wasn't thinking of anything else because I knew what way it was going, because you're on minus 12 points, but the teams are still collecting points as well. So you're near enough on like 24 points you need to get in the same amount of times. It just was never going to happen. Yeah. So I was thinking, right, great chance for me to play football in the Premiership and prove myself, because that was one thing that killed me. Said I have to prove myself I could play at that level. Yeah. And I went up, and after 3 games, Glenavon straight on the phone to me, offered me a deal to come back. Now I was always going to go back, but I didn't. I agreed to it verbally, but I wasn't putting anything in writing, because I knew Gaz was going to do a bit of shithouse stuff, because we were playing Glenavon that week, and I just got Player of the Month for down, and I was scoring goals with them, and then he rang us, and then they beat us 2-1 that day. But the contract was always there, no matter what happened the rest of the season. And Portadown offered me a 2-year deal, but I didn't have a great time up there. I liked it up there. I didn't like the whole setup, management, everything with it. Just didn't agree with it for me. Yeah. Just wasn't what I was used to. And yeah, so that ended how it ended, and went to Glenavon, and I was back where I felt that's where I wanted to be. Yeah. And a lot of the lads that were there before were gone, but they were still challenging for top 6, top 3, get into the Europe. And I started the season flying. I think pre-season, one of the best pre-seasons I've ever had. Went into the season, I was top scorer from a midfielder point of view in the club. Yeah. I think I had 8 goals, couple of assists. I was doing really well, and then or the fallout with Gaz. Sometimes normally the attacking players get the brunt of it. If you're not performing well or scoring goals, you get the brunt of it. And as always, you go through sticky patches as everyone does. But yeah, we went through a bit of a bad patch with Gaz, and Till was kind of fell out over it, and I kind of felt he was scapegoating me at times, and not just me. He's quite a lot of players good lads that have fallen out with him, that have left the club. And again, I can name 10 off the top of my head. And it was just the way he was, and I just probably mentally not strong enough to probably take some of it as well, because as I said, I still had that anxiety that I didn't know about yet. Yeah. And then I end up kind of just saying, you know what, I don't know if this is for me anymore. So you
have to be happy as well.
You need to be, and you're travelling up, and you need to make sure, if you're travelling up, what am I travelling up for? To collect a bit commitment. Collect a bit of money for what? I'm not getting anything out of it. So had a chat with him, and then that was it done. So I went back home, and then Glebe were actually in a bit of trouble. So there's 6 games left to play in the season, and they were about to get relegated into which doesn't happen. Like they're about to get relegated from Senior 1 down to what about 1B? Yeah. 1A. And I played the last 6 games, and I don't know what happened. Just something just clicked, and we ended up winning. We had to win 5 in the next 6. I won 5 and banged in goals every single game. And then I had Shells ringing me, then I Drogheda ringing me, and then I was like,
that's all based on you making a personal decision for yourself. Yeah. Right back to going back to League of Ireland and coming back to Portadown, you didn't lie waiting for something to happen. No. You always made a decision.
You're always like that as well, though. Like, whatever you were thinking, you'd say it. Like there's no grey area.
No. I think, and it comes from just, and it was never a kind of an arrogant or a thing. It was just more of a thing that's like, I know what I want, and I want to get it, and I kind of, and if I say it out loud, it's kind of like a contract to myself. Yeah. So I don't back away from it. Yeah. I'm like, I want to go and do it, and if I don't do it, right, I'll take the lesson from it and I come back again. Yeah. And that was always kind of my way of doing it. It's all right to. Players have to suffer, right, in life in general as well, but you have to suffer to become a footballer. Yeah. Simple as.
You have to pave your own path.
There's definitely more downs than there is ups.
Yeah. Oh, massively. And you learn just as much from your losses as some would say you learn more from your losses than your wins, but you learn just as much from both. How to maybe be a bit more consistent, how to maybe not do this, do that. So many learnings from it all. It's just what you take from it is a key thing. But yeah, so I end up kind of having a few clubs onto me then, but I end up staying another year with Glebe.
Was that out of just the enjoyment of the football that you were having there?
Yeah, I was back. I was working at the time, and just my life at the time just seemed to kind of be okay. I didn't need to push, although in the back of my head I was still thinking, right, I can easily play at this level.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of got to me then. I played for Glebe, and I had the best season I've ever had with Glebe on a personal level. Scored 22 goals, player of the year, got picked for the Irish amateur team, played a tournament for the amateur team in Jersey. We won that, finished joint top scorer. And then I signed, then Yuri came in and offered me a contract for the championship. And I was thinking, you know what, go for it. Give it a go. Went up there. Didn't start as good as I'd like it, but then got more consistent as like a couple of weeks went on. And then I banged in a hat-trick one day, and then that was it. For player of the month of the whole league, about 2-3 weeks after that. 13 goals, about 10, 11 assists. And then I was playing in the 10.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit. And you're like, 5 games left of the season here. And I was sick because I was joint top scorer with the centre forward. So our last game was away to Dergview up near Enniskillen, I think it is, up near Donegal, around that way. And I set him up for his 14th goal. I was like, you bastard. But I think I was like, another assist, grand, but I set him up, and then COVID, I was like, yeah, fuck you. But like fairness, like again, I said, I was just happy. Like I was always happy to contribute, whether I was scoring, assisting. Once I was contributing as an attacking point, that's all I cared about. Yeah. And obviously winning, of course, but from my own game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that, and then COVID hit, and then that was just kind of like, well, what do we do now?
What was the anxiety like after turning your, career around, in a sense? Like, did that settle? Like, was your headspace good, or was it still there in the background?
It's still there now. I battle it every day, because I don't think it ever goes away. It's stuff that you have to work on. Yeah. But what happened was, in between, when I signed for Newry, I'd done a sports psychology diploma. So when I left school, I became more studious and inquisitive of things. I started asking more questions and wanting to learn, and I became obsessed with it. And still now, like, all I do is read sports psychology books, podcasts, little things, watching videos back, my own game. Even now to this day, I still watch my own game back as if I'm still playing there. How can I get better? Now I'm watching games back, watching analysis back to get better at that as a coach and a manager. So I've done a sports psychology diploma, and your man, who was John Byrne, is the tutor, and he used to play for St. Pat's and Longford as well. And he mentioned the word. I was just writing down notes. It's only 6 of us in the class. I was just writing down notes, and he said performance anxiety, and I was like, I never heard it before. I just went like that, clicked. I was like, that's exactly what I have. That's exactly why he spoke about it. Now, I never told him that. I did tell him about it a few years down the line when I seen him. I said, because I only met him a few months ago. He was actually in with one of the clubs I was coaching at, and it was great to see him again. And again, things like that helped me massively. So he said that, and then he started talking about tools and how to combat it and how to behave and how to look after it and how you can control it. And he starts saying about, like, control what you can control. Like, I can't control what other people think and say and write about me, and I can only control how I feel. How I take it is how I take it. Yeah. And little things like that help me battle it, control it. And then I started writing stuff down. So before every game, I now write stuff. Before every season, I write stuff down, my personal objectives for the season. Before every game, I read back over certain things. I highlight stuff in books, and I read them before every game as well. Just that helps me perform from the mental side of the game. So it could be imagery, visualization. The key one for me was self-belief. Actually believing in myself and backing myself, and not having other people say, oh, he's shy, or he's this, he's that, he's nowhere near it, don't mind him, blah, blah, blah. But I started taking control of my own.
The formation of your own life.
Yeah, and as soon as I started doing that, when I wrote it down and started studying it and learning it and understanding it, and when something bad went against me, I wasn't going into my own shell anymore. I just went straight through it. I just kept going and going and going. And then when I seen the benefits of it, I never stopped. I never stopped doing it. To this day, I still don't stop doing it.
There's no surprises.
It's funny you say that, because like my son Callum now that you say it, I'd say he has a bit of that. Like, because he'd be saying it to me, but I never had that in a game. In a game, I was just like, the blinkers beyond. You play the match. I wouldn't have performance anxiety, but Callum definitely does. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, why did you do that on the pitch? And he'd be like, I was afraid of my life losing the ball. Just the ball came into me, I was afraid of my life. Did not want to lose the ball. Instead of expressing himself, he's like, just literally, I need to get that ball under control and just pass it off. You know what I mean? That's all he could think about. But he shits himself going into a match, like, you know what I mean? And some games he'd be perfectly fine. You know what I mean?
It is like that. And sometimes you have to, the first thing is to be honest about it.
Yeah.
Right. I'm afraid of losing the ball. So when you lose the ball, what's your reaction going to be? How are you going to respond? If you go into your shell, all you're going to do is keep running away from it.
Yeah.
You have to face it. And sometimes you have to understand, it's okay to lose the ball. What are you learning from it? And you take the learnings from losing the ball, say, right, next pass. The most important thing in football is the next moment.
Yeah.
Next pass, next tackle, next duel, phase of play, whatever it is. You have to be ready for it. So if you do misplace the pass for 10 yards, 10, 15 yards, make your next pass 5 yards.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Work on the basics. So people go away from the basics. The basics have got me to where I am.
Yeah.
I just worked on the basics every day. People get bored of the basics. I thrive in the basics because passing the ball, controlling it, pass. Roy Keane says all the time about Brian Clough, can you run? You can run, you can pass the ball. And he says, and you can, what did he say? He says, you run, you can pass the ball.
Tackle, wasn't it?
Tackle. That was it. He said, those are 3 things. Do that for me. And he goes, that's all my career was. 3 things. He simplified it. And that was his basics and he stuck with it. So, like Callum, he has to find, right, if he does misplace the pass next time, right, don't worry about what your response is going to be because it's either fight or flight.
Yeah, like
players get like
some games you'll see makes the bad pass and then it just, you shy away from it then. Where like you're, as a midfielder, you should be kind of wanting the ball.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. Like obviously not wanting it in stupid positions because you get yourself in trouble. Sometimes you'll say, right, I'm going to get the next one. And then you're going into stupid positions where you're in between 4 players and you're receiving it and then you're setting yourself up for failure. Then some games you see it and it's just like completely gone out of the game for like 15,
But isn't it
20
better to think that he was confident enough to have the ball to lose the ball? Do you know what I mean? Like there's lads that'll hide themselves away in games like and they'll do the simple things. It'll be, simple.
It kills me when I see someone making a bad pass or miscontrolling it, and then that's their game. It's done. Some people, that's the game done for them. Like.
And it comes down to the coaches as well. Like, what are you doing to help them in that moment? Because see a bit of encouragement. Don't worry about it. Next pass, next moment. And
that's massive.
It's huge. And I remember being a kid at Glebe North, and how it all started for me. I was a kid, like I'm talking 8, 9 years of age. And my manager used to scream, he's like, this is your last chance, Imagine saying that to a 9, 10-year-old. I mean, as much as I love the man, I mean, but like,
there's a lot of that.
When you say that at that age, I'm like thinking, last chance, what? And like, as a kid, and that, I never forget that, even now as I'm speaking about it, that's, you're talking like,
as a coach,
25 years ago.
Where you're probably coaching maybe 30 kids or 25 kids, do you treat them all differently? Like some players are, I know from looking at Callum's whole team, some lads react well to praise. Some of them react terribly to criticism. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Do you look at every player on their merits, I suppose?
I would look at it from, so we have a way of doing, so analysis is a key thing for me to show them because the analysis will teach you more than I'll ever teach you. But it requires you to be totally honest with yourself. So there's ways of learning. You've obviously have your 3 ways, your audio, visual, kinesthetic. So I'm more of a visual and kinesthetic. So audio, we speak about it. You might learn from me saying that.
Yeah.
Visuals, I might have an animation to show you. You might get it straight away. Kinesthetic, you're actually doing the drill.
Yeah.
So there's some lads that I already can see that don't understand when I'm saying it. So I put them in the drill as the dummies. Yeah. So therefore, they're the first ones to do it so they can see how it works. It's all right to make a mistake. And I let them know that it's fine. What's your reaction going to be? How are we going to respond now? What's it going to be? Because they need to realise to get to that level of football, it's brutal. It's tough. It's mentally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. So you have to be on it, but we have to give them the right tools in place for them to be able to excel and stretch their performance within that environment. And if we don't, then we're failing them. But I had one kid come up to me only recently and he spoke to me about anxiety because I said the word to him. He goes, I'm a confidence player and I struggle if my pass goes astray. I struggle with it. I said, that's fine. I said, but you have to realise, you give the ball away, but what are you going to learn from it? How are you going to respond to it? I said, it's okay to make a mistake, but it's your learnings to understand, right, why did I give the ball away? What was I afraid I was going to get tackled? Did I have enough space? Did I just make a bad decision? I said, right, so therefore, can we maybe be more aware? Can we take a step back? Can we get our touch under control? Can we go a different... You're trying to help them find solutions by not giving them the answers, but find solutions because they have to go your own way. It's like motivation. They can't let me motivate them. If you're waiting for someone to motivate you in football or in life, then you're not going to do it yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
How important is it for those players like that might have that moment in a game that might be the crucial negative moment that might cost the team to know that you know, you are losing as a team. You win as a team, but you also lose as a team. That one player is not sort of isolated. Like, is that tough as well after a game?
I would, cause I've had it. I've never singled out a player ever after the game because it's everyone. It's because that decision might have come from something else and something else and something else. It might be, oh, the ball went over the top, but why did the ball get over the top in the first place?
Yeah,
it's certain things. So to single out one player would absolutely kill him. I pull players to the side and have a chat with them, and they're honest with me, and I'll be honest with them. Like, what we struggle with at the moment was organisation and communication and body shape. And you're saying that at like nearly 20 years of age. Like, well, sorry, not 20 years of age, but under 20s.
Yeah.
You're like, but you're trying to get the League of Ireland. I said, he's watching what the first team do. The first team are sitting top of the Premier Division at the moment now. They're going into Europe. Look at what they've conceded. Either the least amount or the second least amount of goals in the season. They've good defence. Are you watching them? Have a look at it, because some lads get so fixated on their own game when they realise, you know what, if I actually just look around my shoulder there, there's a defender that's doing well at the moment. What can I learn from his game? What can I add from his game and bring it to mine? Sometimes you might speak to the player and say, look, you're good at this, but you can be better at this. But can we add that to your game? See that difference between you're good, we need to change. If you turn around to a player and say, we need to change this about your game, they'll go back and say, what do you mean change?
Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah,
You're a good player. You need to switch your words around when you're saying to them, we need to add this to your game because you're good at doing this. We can add this in to make it even better. So certain words that you use them as well. But I'd never ever put one player down because I've been like that. I've had it happen to me and I've sank straight away. So that's why I've worked so hard mentally on the side of it to make myself bounce back from any kind of stuff that gets said in a negative kind of way. So that's kind of my way of combating it.
Yeah,
Great, yeah.
good answer.
So you're up north, and
We skipped ahead there, yeah.
You're up north at one stage of your career, but you ventured back down again. Then Finn Harps, yeah.
Yeah, that was mad. Yeah, so it was so during COVID hit. So it was in March. The season was just altogether just postponed because we were in the championship, and unlike the first division in League of Ireland, it wasn't classed as a professional league. So the first division could continue on. As far as I know, the first division was able to continue on during COVID, but the championship wasn't. So we went 5 months without playing. And next thing, my niece's communion was on like a Saturday. So as my wife's first time meeting my family was during, and she came down, and we all had a few drinks. And next thing, I got 2 missed calls. I was like, who was it? You know, when you save a number on your phone to see, can you see the picture, who it might be? Because it kept ringing me. I didn't know who it was. Like, what's this? The next thing, I tried to ring it back, and next thing, just this voicemail going, I was like, what? So the next thing, I was like, is a dog barking on the phone, or what's going on? And next thing, again, the number rang. I missed them again, so I rang it back again, same thing. I was like, what the fuck? Next thing, phone rang again. I got it. I was like, hello. It's like, Adam. He goes, yeah, hello, yeah, hello. Ollie Horgan here, Ollie Horgan. I go, oh, so that's what the voicemail was, him going, Ollie Horgan, his name. So I thought he was barking. I was like, what? I thought someone was winding me up. So the next thing he goes, well, boy, how are you getting on? And next thing, I was like, what's the story? Ollie said, where are you? I was like, I'm just down here in my house, my niece's communion. Right, I'm on the way to you. I was like, what? I didn't know what end it was about, just because I hadn't a clue. I was like, Ollie, I'm drinking here. I was like, I've had a few gargles. I don't even know what I'm even saying to you now at the moment.
Yeah, it's a good time to get you.
And I agreed to editing.
That's what he said he was coming.
And next thing he goes, right, boy, right, I'm going to give you a ring tomorrow. And he came down the next day. Like, Ollie was in Donegal at the time.
Yeah.
He'd travel he'd go the length and distance of a country for a player. Like, he's travelled. There's one. Well, I'll get to that later on. But he came down anyway to the city north. Met him the next day, and I remember the day and saying, "Who's that?" I said, "It's Ollie Horgan's, the Finn Harps manager." And the next thing she's like, "Where's Finn Harps?" She has no clue about football. She goes, Donegal. I was like, "Jeez," I said, but I was thinking, wow, I said League of Ireland, Premier Division, during COVID.
That's all you thought about, yeah.
All I thought about was that. I was like, wow. So the next thing, Ollie came down and met him, and he said, "I'm in trouble. I need a centre forward." I said, I need someone to score goals now for the end of the season. They had 4 points. And he put a contract in front of me. And next thing I was like, I don't even need to read it. It was great because I just wanted to play football. I didn't care.
Yeah, happy enough.
I was like, yeah, grand, whatever. And next thing, he just says to me, he goes, he's seen me play for Glenavon in 2017 against Ballymallard. So I scored a hat-trick in 11 minutes and he was at the game. And but I done my crew shit in 2013. So he says to me, he goes, the one thing I'm worried about, I'm just worried about the knee. It's 2020 now, right?
Yeah, it's like...
And I was like, only that was 7 years ago. So yeah, it's just the knee I'm worried about. I was like, right. And I ended up signing the contract there and then. I went up then like 2 days later, because obviously during COVID you couldn't travel. Yeah. League of Ireland footballers could, because it was your job. So I was able to, so I was able to get around then. So I went up and trained, and obviously you're going from 5 months of like during the first bit of COVID, like the first lockdown. But I thought it was great. Like we're sitting at home, you're getting paid.
Research,
you're like I was like, you're drinking with the lads every day. You're playing like playing golfing on the green, like balls into the bucket job. No, like that's all we done. That's we couldn't go anywhere.
You're a fucking
you're a kid.
2 meters apart though.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Sanitized everything. Yeah. And we so we ended up going up. So I'm going from that to be able to play football again. I was thinking, what an opportunity. I said, if I do well here, I could get somewhere closer to home.
Yeah.
So anyway, signed, went up, and it took me weeks to get myself up to that level, because the boys were halfway through their season, because COVID year was a half season. It's only 18 games.
Yeah. So up to speed.
So I went up, and the first game was against Bows. I wasn't signed, so the week after was against Waterford away, and came on. We were 1-0 down, then 1-1, then we were 2-1 down, and then we came on, and it was just mad. It came out for 25 minutes. I was hoping I would get 5 minutes, just to try get myself back into it. And he just threw me on straight away. And I was like, wow. I think, right. I said, get up this. It's just run, do what you can, just get your work in.
Yeah.
So I played a big part in the game. We came back with 1-3-2, and I turned around to Webby after the game. I was like, is every game like this with these? He goes, yeah, pretty much. It's going to just be a battle to the end of the season. So that was us on 7 points then. And so we end up, another couple of weeks went by, again, getting myself up to scratch. I had a horrendous week training. And I mean horrendous. My missus bought me new boots, right? And you know the way you buy Adidas boots. So Adidas used to buy 11s and the B11, but now they're like 10.5. So I had a nightmare. She bought me these purpley kind of boots, and I liked them. And I was like, they're nice. I get them, wear them. Went up to train and cut them off. The whole week was in bits. I remember Webby turned around laughing at me, goes, put them in the bin now. And got back home that night, get into the bath, when you're trying to stretch them and everything. Couldn't get anything out of it. So horrendous week training. Played Shells on the Friday, and we always meet in the I think it was the Clarion or the Clayton. Was the one across from Home Farm, whatever that hotel is, right across from Home Farm. That's where we'd always meet in our pre-match.
The one with the Regency, was it?
The Regency. Yeah. I didn't want to say I was what happened. The Regency,
Bring that up now. Just for the viewers,
that's the next part.
Who can we get on?
And
Got the monk on it.
I did not associate myself with it. And we ended up going there, and we were playing Shells, and Ollie pulled me to the side. He goes, I'm going to leave you out of the squad. And I've never been left out of a squad, ever.
Yeah.
And I always turn around. I always remember my words, that fair play to you. I said, 100% agree with you. I said, but it won't ever happen again. I tell you that now. So I took a week off. Oh, sorry, it was during COVID. So I went and stayed in Donegal for a week. Me and Nadine went up, stayed in the week, brought the dog up, trained every time with the club, with the team.
Yeah.
And then we played Cork on the Sunday, I think it might have been.
Yeah.
Hit the post when it came on. We drew 1-1. It was us against them, kind of near enough for near the bottom.
Yeah.
And hit the post, done really well when it came on. It was effective. I was like, felt good after getting a full proper week into me.
Yeah.
Because I was doing like Monday back to Balbriggan, Thursday back to Balbriggan, and then we'd either play up there. If we were playing at home on a Friday, I'd stay up. If we're playing away, then you just come back to Balbriggan, and then you're going to wherever the game's on.
Yeah.
It could be in Derry, so you might have to either stay up and then go to Derry, or it could be Rovers, you're just back home and you're going to Halla.
Straight up.
So it was always like that. But when I stayed up, I got such a good week into me. Felt stronger, felt sharp. I was getting myself back. And done well. So the next week we're playing Bows. So if we beat Bows, Rovers win the league. And I was just sitting down, just literally got up. I was in the dressing room, and the match was on for about 5 minutes. Went up, sat up there, just cracked open my can of Red Bull, just sitting there watching the game, in the stands. Like, And actually one of the lads went down after 5 minutes. I was like, Adam, calm me down. I was like, Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
So went on straight away, set up 2 goals, beat them 2-0. And then he took me off like the 93rd minute. And I was like, job done. I was like, wow, so we beat them, Rovers win the league. And the next week he starts me then. And again, we're now after drawing a couple of games. So again, we're on 4 points or 7 points. And we then played Pats at home. Scored after 5 minutes, my first goal, beat them 3-2. Then we played Rovers the week after that. They beat us 2-0. They absolutely battered us. They could not get near them. Last game of the season between us, Shells, I think there's another team in there. I can't remember. I think it was us and Shells anyway. So Shells had more points than us, so we had to win to stay up. So now we're on 17 points. And from going from 4 to 17, us and Rovers accumulated the most amount of points in that short space of time. And I was sitting in the room that day. I just knew something was going to happen. Something was going to happen. And next thing, played Waterford, scored the winner, beat them 1-0, stayed up.
Ah, fucking class.
And that was my first 3 months of Harps. And then the lads who were all with us, all the lads that were with us at Harps, like we such a good dressing room, and we all signed to stay on again next season. So I was thinking, like, I get somewhere closer to home, but then I loved it there, so we stayed again, and I just had such a great time then. And half season then going by, like scored the first game of the season against Bows, beat them 1-0, scored that one. We played Dundalk the next game. Scored 2 of them, beat them 2-1. I think it was the first time Hearts beat Dundalk and Oriel. Beat Waterford 2-1 at home, scored in that one. And they never beat Derry in the Brandywell in the league game ever in the history. And they're obviously big rivals.
Yeah.
Scored the winner at the 88th minute. They made a T-shirt.
It's wild, yeah.
Just madness. So Derry, obviously during COVID, Derry had fans up on the, I don't know if you've ever seen the Brandywell, but there's a wall behind it.
Yeah.
And they all stand up there. Well, it's not now. There's a stand there now.
Stands there, yeah.
So they used to be up there. They were giving 2 of our fellas dogs abuse all game. Just these young lads.
The young lads, yeah.
50
I was actually at a
60.
Derry game at a stag, Dan McCarthy's stag. Shout out to Dan McCarthy. We went to a match. We went to the Drogheda Derry.
What was it? What?
3-2, I think it was, to Drogheda. It was a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, you were at that game, the 3-1 game.
3-1.
Yeah. Connor Keeley got the 2 of them. And then Warren got the third goal.
Yeah. Was that Warren?
Warren got the third goal, yeah.
Oh, you know who he is now.
Yeah. That was great. That was a great win. Yeah. Because
we were sitting in that stand.
Boyce got sent off. He scored the goal and got sent off.
That's right, yeah. He played for Hearts or something.
Hearts, yeah, and Cliftonville as well. He is a good player.
So we were those thugs. You were shouting at Drogheda, we were.
But we ended up, the lads are giving him dogs abuse behind the goal, and next thing I scored. I don't know, as I scored the last minute of the game, and then the fence was open behind the goal. So I was like, Daly. That's my celebration. I went straight through the fence, skipping it. I was like that. And next thing, 50 people up, and there's one lad just like that. And the picture him just like that to me. And then Harps the fans made a T-shirt to me like that, and the Derry fella on the ground and all, and a few of the lads bought and all, so it's a cracker. So we great memories, and like I was top scorer in the league then for half a season, and then I interest from Drogheda, and I just moved to Drogheda, and Drogheda made a bid and a player, and I wanted to go. I wanted to go. I was like, I've done my travelling now. I've done everything I can.
And you noticed what it was like to travel and play.
Yeah. And fans, when I moved to Drogheda as well, Drogheda were 4th in the league, and they're in the European spots. Yeah, flying.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, geez, what a chance this is. I'm top scorer in the league at the moment. To Drogheda want me. They're sitting 4th. I live in the town.
Yeah,
great. But Harps having none of it. Won't let me go at all. And understandably, I wanted to go. And I think that's when me and Ollie had a little bit of a fallout. Understand it, I completely see from his point of view, and I was just really annoyed. And next thing, he stopped playing me up front, start putting me either on the bench or out wide. And I didn't down tools because it's not in me. I still turned up to training, but I was just disappointed.
Starving you the goals.
Yeah, I was still contributing in a way. I was still putting in a shift. I just wasn't scoring. Set up a couple, but yeah, it wasn't the same because I had such a good relationship with Barry McNamee, who was number 10, and he'd find me anywhere. And again, what
way does the transfers work in the League of Ireland? Like, is there interest at any point of the season?
No, so the window has to be open for them to go. So you'll have your window at the start of the season. So it works from February to November. Okay. So you have your window at the start of the season, and then when that closes, then it opens again in the summer.
And there's no talking in between that, like there's no
that can be like tapping up kind of stuff, to kind of say, look, just we're interested. Happen because sometimes they want the player to kind of push it as well. And I didn't try and push it. Well, maybe I did. I wanted to go.
It made sense to you personally as well.
Yeah, and I let them know, and but Harps, they weren't answering I don't think they were answering the phone, and Ollie just told me that if you go, I'm going to get the sack because we were struggling at the time. I was top scorer.
Yeah.
And then, so just cutting. We kind of had a bit of a fallout, and it was a shame because we never really spoke then for the rest of the season. And then even at the end of the year, it was kind of upsetting because we'd such a good dressing room and we stayed up and we were brilliant. And yeah, so it was just kind of one of them things where we didn't even speak at the end of the season. So every night I've kind of helped keep them up twice. 2 times in the league, and just
forgotten about.
And again, as I said, completely understand from his point of view. But then I had a nice moment with him towards the end of last season. It was the first time we kind of
met again.
Yeah, like I just spoke again, really, because we would have came up against each other a few times since, but never spoke or just kind of bypassed each other. And I went up to him at the end of the game and said, "Ollie, look, this is probably going to be my last year, so I just want to thank you for everything you've done for me." And a typical Ollie fashion, he's like, "Oh, don't worry, go win the cup, go win the cup." He just wanted you to go do well. It doesn't matter. He just always wanted you to go do well. So we had that little moment, then we won the cup, and he sent me a message after the cup saying congratulations and all. So we're made up that way. But he's an absolute character. What a character! I remember one of the days he was. I was doing my B license or my A license just as I got the harps, the first part of it. Yeah. And there's one of the lads. He's like a chaplain, part of the IFA.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get all kind of chaplains into clubs around Ireland. And he rang Ollie one day, and Ollie's probably not the right man to ring. He ended up, we gone up the train, and me and Webby went up the train, and the next thing, Ollie goes, your mate rang me today. I said, "Who?" "Your man from the IFA." I was like, "Right." He goes, "He's all into religion and shit, isn't he?" And I started laughing. I go, "Jez, would you not need a bit of that?" "Oh, I need more than Jesus to help me, boy." So it was just cracking. He came out with some brilliant stuff. But yeah, great man. And that was just a shame the way that happened at the end. But eventually I got me moved to Drogheda. And after then, it's just, never looked back after that.
Yeah. It's like it's the highs and lows of football, isn't it? It's like you're going to upset people along the way. And it's probably doesn't mean if it's League of Ireland, if it's, Roy Keane with, Sir Alex Ferguson, they've had the best of times.
What age were you at that time?
31.
So that was the last chance.
It was my last big contract I was going to get was with Drogheda. It was just more the fact that, and again, I've never, like, even with money wise and all that, it's never been an issue with me, and every manager will tell you that. Underneath, even with Kev as well, I've taken pay cuts to do stuff to help out clubs get other players in, to taking a pay cut, because again, I was all right. I had a job in that sense, so it was never a big thing for me to I need this and this. It's never that. And I ended up getting it was more disappointing how it ended, because I loved it. Like, Harps, great for me. The memories I have there, even the county, the Donegal itself, like, it's mine and Dean's favourite spot to go now in Ireland. When you go up, with so many memories, got engaged up there, and everything. So
does the end of your career, in a sense, at Drogheda sort of, make that decision all worthwhile in the end?
Yeah, I knew straight away when I signed for Drogheda, this is for me now. This is for me. I was with, because Kev tried to sign me about 7-8 years ago, because he was assistant to Tim when they first went into Drogheda, and I already agreed to go back to Glenavon, and League of Ireland at the time wasn't the draw that it is now. And the money was really bad back then, and the commitment was double what you had to do elsewhere. So it was hard, especially when you were working. And I don't think I was driving at the time either, if I remember right. So even though I was only Bob Riggin, but still, it was. I always remember that. So Kev, I remember I was his first player that he signed when he took over as manager. I was his first re-signing the year after, and I was first re-signing the year after that. So whatever he wanted me to do, I'd always sign back for him, no problem. But I loved being there. And I remember the first time he tried to sign me as the first player when he just took over. He sent me the message he sent me from like 7 years ago before. Look, that's, I always tried to sign you. So I always knew that. So just Kev was just the best I've ever played under. From a managerial point of view, like tactically and all this kind of stuff, but like just from a human side of things, like, he treats you like you're a person first, and then you're a player. And what that does for you as a person and a player, you want to give more, and that's what I've always had that kind of relationship with him. So that was the best thing ever happened to me was signing for Drogheda.
That's some of your proudest moments being with Drogheda as well.
Unbelievable! Like, just that, even like we played on, it was live on RTE. We first Loud Derby, and place was absolutely hopping. Like, I don't know if you get to it. I don't know if you've ever been to a Drogheda game in recent times, but get to it and just go in where the judges are. Bring the young lad. Well, maybe not in the Dundalk here, but
we get lynched.
But
no, he's been up. He's been.
Yeah, it's the atmosphere. They are hands down the best fans in the league. And I'm lucky that I'm living in the area. Like, you walk around the area and like you don't see United, Liverpool, Celtic jerseys. You just see Drogheda.
Yeah, same as Dundalk. Yeah, it's the same. They're so really
passionate, aren't they? They're so passionate about
flags in the windows. Yeah, a whole lot. Yeah.
So, but we ended up playing Dundalk, Loud Derby, RTE, and had a cracking game. Hit the post, bashed the crossbar. I just Enton was scored. We beat them 1-0. And I remember getting the flag after the game, or the Drogheda flag, and I was waving it, and that just kind of came a little bit of a trademark with me and the fans. We always just pick up the flag after games, just wave it around. Then I got injured. The Thursday after that, popped my hamstring altogether, done grade 3C tear, so you're supposed to be gone. I was one away from an operation. So I was supposed to do rehab for 3 months. And I had the Finn Harps game in my head because I was thinking I want to play against Finn Harps. That was So I made it back after 2 months, and it was 1-1, and we were down to 10 men. It was like 85th minute or something. I came on and scored in the 90th minute. And I done a knee slide over to the Harps bench.
That's what we doing.
I remember my brother Kieran ran down the stand, and he was like going mad because just got going ballistic. And then
Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, it was just mad. So and then 2 minutes after that, then I set up the third goal. We went 3-1. So and then that was my first goal for Drogheda in that game, last minute of the game against our former club, and obviously the emotion of it all because of what happened. But then we went up and played them a few months later up in Ballybuffet, got beaten 3-0, right? Bashed. And all the fans, because the fans are back in the stadium, they're like, Adam Foley as a wanker, as I'm coming off. I started singing in with them at that stage as well. It was like, fucking hell, it's a catchy song.
Yeah, it is. So
but yeah, so you get your medicine as well. You have to take it. But but just had unbelievable memories, like scoring goals like that.
Can you remember the thrill of the Wexford game?
I still watch it. I watch that I don't know how many times a month. just those memories, because you're not playing anymore. You kind of go back on things. You're like, jeez, remember that? Even though it was only a few months ago, but I always remember there was again something about that day. I woke up that morning, and in fairness to Kev, I spoke to Kev in the summer about possibly finishing in the summer because I just got a new job and I found it really hard to balance it because it's a lot more demanding than my previous job. Right. So. Again, it just shows the class of Kev. Kev just said, look, we'll manage it. If you need a day here and there, take it and we'll look after you. And then I couldn't start every game anymore. And then we changed shape as well. So I definitely couldn't start every game. Went wing backs. I was like, I'm 30, 80, 35 here. I said, look after me here. And then, so he just brought me on every now and again. Every time he brought me on, I'd seem to score, I'd do something. And it just worked. And then the Wexford game was, I remember talking to him. We played Derry and Galway the week before the Wexford game. And he gave me like a total of like 3 minutes in both games or something. And I remember saying to him, I was like, Kev, look, I'm helping you out, but like, come on, don't take the piss. Just give me something. And next thing, the striker I had basically the morning of the semi-final. Again, the whole place was but you could hear the pin drop in the whole town that weekend. Everyone was about the semi-final, everything. And with flags out the window, buntings all over the place. Like the whole place was claret and blue. And obviously it was live on RTE, our Virgin. And so I woke up that morning and I was downstairs again, looking over my notes, going through my self-talk, my visualisation. I just knew I was going to do something that day. I just knew it. I just had this in my head, like I am going to play a massive part in this game today, whatever it is. And I even say that to the players all the time. If you get 5-10 minutes, make it the best 5 or 10 minutes of your week, because you don't know what it could lead to. So big man France got injured after 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And I came on and we went 1-0 down just before half time. Bad goal to give away. And I remember saying it to myself on the pitch. I said, this is your last chance. I said, you are never going to get this again, ever. So it's either now or it's never. And that's it. So don't let the moment pass. I remember that was all in my kind of talk that I kind of been doing. Said it's time to act now. You have to start performing, because even though it takes all of us to do it, but you might need someone to start the spark.
Yeah.
And And then second half, Kev came in at half time, and rightly so, just went through, boys, absolutely through us, because we were pissing away an unbelievable opportunity. And Wexford were good. We hadn't even got out of second gear. We just couldn't get going. I think maybe the emotion of the game got to a lot of people. It was quite overwhelming.
Yeah.
The whole, you couldn't see one seat in the whole place. It was rammed. And then second half came, ball came over from Connor, crossed the ball over. I missed the header. It just too high. Came back. Andy Quinn shanked it, and I just caught it then lovely with me left and went top corner. So that was the start of it. And then a couple of minutes later, got a corner. Dougie had it 2-1, and then we're thinking, this is us, happy days. But what we didn't anticipate was them equalising a couple of minutes after that. Nearly knocked the ball themselves. We're like, oh my god, how is this happening? Yeah. And then I remember one of the lads was having a bit of a bat. One of the lads, James, he wasn't great. I could see he was quite nervous, and we had a throw in the last minute. I remember shouting at him. I grabbed him. I said, "You're going to win this flick on for me. I'm telling you now, you're going to win this flick on." Grabbed him, went on, won the flick on, scored the goal, and it was just pandemonium after that. Yeah, it was just madness, and then the whole place.
Big dopamine hit.
Just I was on the pitch, and I was like in tears nearly at the as we were walking back to the halfway line, because Mags, you look at the video and Kev's in the stands over here, Ward in the stands over there, all the benches on the pitch. The lads we're not even together. Like
everyone's nowhere to run.
You look down and Webby runs down our end of the pitch and he picks up a can of Coke. Someone threw on the pitch. He starts necking the can of Coke and all. I don't know. He just goes to me, I don't know what I'm doing. And I got back down and the whistle was about to go for them to kick off again, and I just went up. I was like, oh boy, what's after happening? What's after happening? This is mad. And then lo and behold, the whistle went, and next thing, everyone just stormed onto the pitch. They picked us up like you were Pele. The thing was, what annoyed me, you couldn't celebrate because I got man of the match, so they dragged me off straight away to do an interview. So all the boys are celebrating, and I don't get it. But then I get to go over to my mum, and the camera catch me lovely. I'm over hugging my mum in the stand, and that was a beautiful moment that I'll always have forever. And so that was that was it. And then we went out then that night down to Foley's bar down in Drogheda, and I went back to the house to drop the car off, and I remember just nearly having a heart attack. Your chest is just cutting. And we went out and had a few beers, and there was something about that year. I said at the start of the season, I think we're gonna win the cup this year. It just had it, because we got quarter-final the year before that, our last 16, where Harps got to the quarter-final twice. We just couldn't get over the line. We got shafted one year with Harps, the very first year. We were beating Rovers 2-0 and on fire, absolutely. 2-0 at half-time. The referee, I won't mention his name, brutal, but he 3 penalties against us in 5 minutes. Never seen him before. Never seen. I was like, and you go back over them. I just going mad, and then
is that corruption you're talking about? we like that kind of stuff here.
But I honestly couldn't believe it. They beat us 3-2, and
bring him in there. Bring me at the ref.
we have him right here.
It was. But I just had a feeling.
Did that feel like your final? The semi-final was as.
I just felt like it. No, because I'm one of them. Although it's one of the biggest moments of your life and all. I'm always one of them. Right, next game. So the next game we're playing Waterford down in Waterford, and we had to manage bodies for the final because we were still in the playoff. We still had to get into the playoff to secure the playoff place. So although we had the final to look forward to, we still had a lot of work to do. Because momentum was with us. Did it drop off a little bit between the final and the playoff? Because we are near enough confirmed in the playoff place, there was still a chance of maybe catching, so we didn't want to down tills, but subconsciously I think you're thinking of the final, and a few lads I think were probably saving themselves as well. As you would. Don't want to be injured, don't want to miss this chance.
What an opportunity,
what a chance, So we ended up securing the playoff spot, and that was fine, and we ended up having Bray, so we kind of parked that and we look forward to the final. But the final was mad. We going into schools and all around Drogheda, place is just manic. Again, claret and blue. You have kids, because me and Ryan live in the same estate. You have kids knocking up to your door, autographs, everything. They're just football mad, football mad place, and it's great because it's great for me. Obviously, being football mad myself. So, you go into schools and they're singing songs. I walked into a school at 10 o'clock in the morning. One of the teachers has the decks out, and me and Luke Heaney, and this guard of honour walking in, like, what is going on here?
You want to leave the
kids are just like, it's going mad. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. But this is all stuff like before the final, so everyone was just so supportive and giving us all their support and going to the game. And like, was 40,000 people, like just under 40,000 people there at the game, and then everyone obviously watching at home. But
Brilliant.
it was just the whole, you know yourself, like you going to the Ireland games, you're going there as a kid, and then you get to play.
Imagine being in there, like unreal.
Get to play in it, and then you're like, Jesus Christ, this is madness. So all the preparation, everyone just it couldn't have went better the whole way to the final, and there was a nice little touch we done, and we stayed in the City North for 2 nights, and the lads done a nice little touch about personal things to our families, and had this kind of board up with all our pictures of our families and all that kind of stuff, and this the people that have helped guide you, and the reason why you're doing it for, who you're doing it for, and what got you here, and just real personal stuff and real emotional stuff. And you can see obviously a good few of us are kind of welling up by it. It means everything.
It was all worth it.
Yeah, and you're like, that's what you sacrificed, all those weekends. You don't get to, like, my mates have all have memories together that I don't have with them. But because I've chosen to go a different way.
Route,
even though, but they'll tell you the same, but like, we're glad you went that way, because like we kind of rather be where you are.
Watching you play.
And in fairness to my mates, they come to all the games when I was there, home and away. They go, even when I was playing at Finn Harps, they come up to Finn Harps and all. So that's why I'm so lucky to have the mates that I do.
Boys.
Yeah, to the lads, like they even the games in the Aviva, they've come to the away games, the home games with Drogheda, they're in with the ultras, they're loving it. They're all Drogheda fans now. They look out for Drogheda straight away.
Yeah.
But again, I was lucky to have that. But all the sacrifices are worth it in the end, because you're not going in the weekend. You're not going out the weekend. You're not going to this stag, this wedding, this anniversary, this party, and like when people question, oh, what are you doing? Why are you not out with us? And blah blah. I said, this is why. This is why we're doing it, because there's a reason why I've sacrificed all my life for this.
Do you see that sacrifice now, the journey that you've had? Do you feel that you have what it takes now to be able to pass that on to the lads that you're over now?
Yeah, I think so, because I didn't sign my first professional contract till I was in my 20s. A lot of lads think that if it doesn't happen for them now, that's it done. So they don't realise that, like, for them leaving the club, sometimes, although they can't see it, it's the best thing for them. It's not a step back in any means, it's a step forward, because it's your career. That's what you make the most of it. But you have to be willing to put the work in, to apply yourself, have the right attitude, the right behaviours to becoming a professional footballer. And if you don't, then like you're just going to waste your own time. If you don't, then that's all right. Go a different way. You're not going to fall out with someone over it. But you're trying to put the right tools in place and the structure and stuff in place for them to help them. But I can definitely see myself helping them in that sense already, because just because it doesn't work out for you here doesn't mean it won't work out for you somewhere else. And again, this will always be here. If you go out and make a good career, the likes of this club will come back and get you. But if we start putting stuff in place now for them to help guide them, we can definitely get them there too, towards the first team.
You mentioned school when you were younger and the difference between teachers then and now when you're going back into schools and stuff. Do you think coaching has evolved something similarly? Yeah,
I think it is more about the. I think it's more about the person now than the player. A lot of it is mindset and the emotional and the empathy. It really is like that. Where beforehand it used to be just like lads aren't as probably mentally strong as what they were back then. So you need to be careful of what you say and who you say to and so on. You can't go in the days of absolute bollocking lads. Now, I still give out to lads again because it's the standards you set. Because you're still passionate about the game. Yeah. But you need to be careful in what you're saying. Again, the lads know I'll go mad. They know that. Yeah. I said, but they still know that I'm there to help them and get better, because as I said to them, I will challenge them as much as I possibly can, but I'll guide them and help them as much as I possibly can as well. Yeah. So I think the learnings of, but everyone kind of has a person in their life that's helped mould them or guide them to what they're doing now. I'm sure you've had when you started out doing what you're doing. There's always had someone that you could probably relate to, like they've helped me massively. Yeah. So I'd like to think that I can be that. Obviously now I'm transitioning into coaching, that I can be that person that maybe in 10 years time I say maybe something that I don't even remember saying, but it might have had an impact on them. So
get you back here in 10 years time as a manager of one of the top clubs in the League of Ireland.
But that's obviously the plan, to be a manager someday. Well, I think it is. As of now, it is.
Is it in your notes?
It's in my notes.
As something to look for.
Yeah, it is, because I've always, when I've done my crucia at 23, I realised that, right, this isn't forever. I might have another injury and I might be out for another year and a bit. I might miss this, I might miss that. So I started taking my coaching at that age. And I enrolled on my B licence, which it's C1. Like you do your C licence and then it's your B, but it was like B1, B2 kind of that's the way they kind of structured it. So I'd done that at like 27, but I got my coach at Glenavon at the time helped me, gave me loads of different books and stuff to help me kind of learn and coach from that. And I just studied it that way while I was lying down, just cutting me with my leg. And then I actually went down to coach in Balbriggan for a couple of months while I done my cruise ship. So that just kind of got me involved, keep me involved within the team, within football. So I always kind of planned for it, for when the day did end. Even though you don't want it to end, but it just happens. And that was kind of why I started doing B, then A license. And my plan is eventually to go into a full time. That's what I want to do. I want to be involved in football full time. Obviously, financially, over here, the money's not. You know, it's probably the reason why I didn't sign back this year, because financially I won't be able to pay the bills in my house and afford food on my table and pay to my card and so on.
And it's a risky one as well.
It's risky, and although people say, "Oh, would you not have done it because you could have played Europe and you could have done it?" I said, "Yeah, but like I have a house of bills. I'm at a different stage of my life than what it's a young man's league now, and you can see that from the amount of young players.
That's going to change eventually. I mean, like, do you think with the progression of the league and the plans for the league that eventually it'll become
the money
sustainable for lads to be able to stay in it longer, you know?
Please God, I hope it does, because the more, I think the Conference League is definitely helping out, because you're playing probably not as strong teams as you would in Europa League, so you're obviously generating some money from that. Obviously the TV rights are going up. You now see Virgin Media jumping on board with League of Ireland. It's now shown 36 games. I honestly think
massive,
it's massive. I just think COVID was the best thing to happen to League of Ireland, because everyone's now jumping in to League of Ireland now, where they don't want to go to England anymore, have VAR, and it takes the emotion out of the game, where this is just real football. This is like back when we were growing up. It's on your doorstep, and people get a sense of pride supporting your local team. And it's so passionate, and as I said, everywhere, like every League of Ireland ground, you cannot get a ticket at United Park with Drogheda. You can't. You go to Bows, you go to like there's people queuing at doors to try to get in the waiting line to try to get in to get a ticket.
Which is
great. Can't get it. Can't get it. Like remember like when we were growing up, you rock up to Drogheda, probably 150, 200 people there. You know, that would have been the case. Same with Shells, because they were the two closest teams to where we live.
It's amazing insight. What's the hardest question we asked?
I'm exhausted now after that.
I need one of those ice baths now.
The most difficult question of them all is Spotify playlist. What's your song of choice?
My song, Live Forever, Oasis.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
first Oasis song we've had on.
That's a Balbriggan, isn't it? So
give us a podcast as well for any young lad looking to
podcast. The High Performance podcast, the one that I always listen to. If you want another side of the different side of football under the cosh, there's another great one to listen to, because it gives you all the kind of banter of professional footballers and the stuff they get up to. While but High Performance is a great one for me. I listen to your man Dan Abraham's podcast as well. Voice is a bit boring, but sometimes you can
get into it.
But the High Performance is great, because it doesn't have to be just football. It can be business, everything. There's so much you learn from it. So it's great. But live forever. I'm surprised Oasis is the first one.
Definitely the first one.
It's probably the thing behind it, because I remember Noel Gallagher said about. I remember Kurt Cobain with Nirvana brought out that song about wanting to die and blah blah blah. And he goes, "No, I'm not having that." Not having that, and he just says about waking up in the morning is the best thing in the world. I love it. I said, kids, there's enough misery in the world. Kids don't need to listen to that. I'm going to live forever. And it's just that whole kind of concept that you had. I was like, I love that.
Go against the grain.
Yeah. So it's brilliant. So that'd be my song. Yeah, love it.
Adam, been a pleasure.
Sound lads.
Nice. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
lad.
Well.
Right, that's it. Season 6, episode 9 in the can, the penultimate episode of this season. And I don't think we could have asked for a better one to lead us into the final week.
Yeah, unbelievable. Thanks to the two lads for coming in. So Adam and Jordan, really good stories. As all our other guests have done, they've either surprised us with something we didn't know, or been exactly who we thought they were going to be. And that's the reason why we asked the people we asked on, because we think they've got a good story for us to either learn or pass down the line to our listeners. So thanks to the lads and thanks to everyone else, and obviously thanks to who's coming up in the last episode.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. And a big shout out, like always, to our main sponsor, Robust Lighting, the world's leading LED lighting company, for their continued support.
And also a shout out to Snickers Workwear Ireland. Lindsay in there has always showed us great support through our previous seasons and especially this season. So big thank you to them as well.
Yeah, and I guess, like I say every week, if you liked what you heard or you liked what you watched, make sure you head over to wherever you get your podcast, give us a follow, and you'll be notified when the next one drops. Take it easy, everyone.
Talk to you next week.